I'm gonna hit record now and people can hear us. I obviously have no music playing this time. Alright, so we have about 13 minutes before the prelim starts, so that's a good time to discuss the deck and I guess why you and Jason are so high on it right now. I don't play a lot of this deck. I have off and on over the years, but I obviously would not consider it my primary deck or even close to it.
It's got
Um,
Rashad and Port. That's close.
I don't do that much nowadays, as you can tell.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you give us a quick rundown of what you like about it, what it's good against, and why you feel it should be built this way? Because I think those are the major talking points of Yorion versus non-Yorion. I know you wrote a bunch about it and talked to a bunch of people about it, but just give us like the 5 minute version here.
Yeah, I'll try to give some brief bullet points on why Yorion lately. So the big thing is um, that Yorion is just an extremely powerful tool in the snow matchup is the most important thing. The snow matchup, contrary to some people's beliefs, I guess, has steadily gotten worse. When Skyclave came out, a bunch of people thought that the snow matchup got really good, and I think that is true. But I think a lot of it was people kind of just forgot how to play against Death and Taxes.
Yep.
It had been dead for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and as people get into the same play rhythms and play patterns, you don't get those like gotcha moments nearly as often, and it is hard to like eke out those wins. Towards the back end of me playing 60 cards, I was leaning towards cards like Armageddon or something
Mm-hmm.
because you just couldn't grind with Oko Uro anymore. You couldn't recruiter wisp chain your way out of like beating miracles in 2020. But Yorion is like an Armageddon, or it's closer to a Gideon, I guess, in terms of value. That like just is always in your hand as an eighth card that your opponent has to respect.
Mm-hmm.
Much like they Snow has to keep in like Force of Wills to counter turn one Aether Vial or like turn 7 Cataclysm. Now they just like always have to be worried about Yorion coming down. Um, in terms of obviously the biggest downside, your deck is less consistent, et cetera, et cetera. You draw your less cards. It's one of the only arguments I ever hear is like, oh, I want to draw my Aether Vials or my Thalias or my Wastelands. But like none of those cards are nearly as good anymore. I talked about it at length in the article, but basically just we're not playing against miracles in 2017 anymore. We're not playing turn one Aether Vial. It resolves and like it's just you get to win the game now. Snow decks have abrupt decays and Okos and stuff. Thalia's not nearly as good as it was in the past. Wasteland is kind of a joke, and also Port is kind of a joke against these Astrolabe decks. So instead of making your deck like consistently drawing your good cards, you just fill the deck with as many powerful tools as you can, and also get Yorion.
Yeah, so I actually linked the article you talked about in the chat because if someone wants to read more in depth about it, I think that's better than us spending like, you know,
Yeah,
25 years or 25 minutes talking about it, which I'm sure there's a lot of things you've talked about. I mean, I think really the point you made that okay, I don't really need to draw these cards more as often as possible is actually the real reason that you can get away with playing Yorion. Um, because there's definitely a lot of times where you can't really do that in a lot of formats.
yeah,
Like in draft, like especially, your cards do not have equal power values in draft because like your pack one pick one is probably the best card in your deck, and you do want to draw it as often as possible, right? Um, but here, that's not what's going on here, right? Or not anymore.
yeah. The power level curve of Death and Taxes is like pretty flat. There's no like, there are obviously role players in different matchups, and I think the addition of like playing the full set of Recruiter of the Guard kind of helps out maintain
Right.
some sort of consistency. But like, you're not just like turn one Vial, turn two Thalia, whatever, every single game, every single time. It's 2020, and those cards aren't nearly as good anymore. The addition of Spirit of the Labyrinth also is just very huge at like rounding out your high powered 2-drop suite.
Yeah, it's funny. I think we talked about this briefly in one of the chats when this card was printed, I actually did think it was going to Warp Legacy. So I was like, okay, how can I avoid getting wrecked by this card and the decks I like to play? And then it slowly became clear that at that point that I don't know, like people sort of naturally built their decks around it, is how I would say. I don't know how to put it. I think there were a lot more engineered plagues than the like back then. Although now obviously you have to contend with Plague Engineer. And I kind of think the snow decks are adapting slightly. I see a lot more Plague Engineers than I did before. That and Elves are probably reasons to do that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still not thrilled to play against like a triple Plague Engineer deck with this deck, I would have to guess, right?
Yeah, it does help a little bit that we're playing our X ones are at least a little bit diversified. Like usually it really wants to go on human, but you do have like Flicker Wisps and Spirits and stuff. Plague is usually, I refer to it a lot as like 3 mana Flame Tongue Kavu.
Yeah.
It kills a thing and then sticks around and trades with a thing or trades with a removal spell. You try not to play into it, but sometimes you have to.
Yeah, like the overlap, this is randomly a Spirit. I knew that testing a bunch of Spirits decks in other formats. This is a Spirit, obviously. Skyclave is randomly a Spirit, and it's also a core, which is overlap with Stoneforge.
Yeah, helps out a lot with Cavernous Souls, because Skyclave is a card you want to resolve a lot, and you can curve Stoneforge Skyclave or Spirit Skyclave with Cavern.
Yeah. So, I assume this is only in the deck for Yorion, really, because I kind of feel like it's not a great card otherwise, but it's really good with Yorion, so there's that.
It's not super thrilling. You'll tutor for it sometimes to fill out a curve, like cast, if you don't you kind of want to 3-drop your Recruiter, you can like cast your Recruiter, vial in your Charming Prince, exile it, go get a 3 after, and just kind of build the board for free. And the way the deck is built with Yorion, you do have just additional ways to kind of abuse your ETBs, reuse your Skyclaves and Wisps and stuff. It's not the most exciting card in the world, but like it's a fine role player.
Yeah, when Zendikar Rising came out, a lot of people built like straight white-blue Yorion in Standard, and it had a lot of copies of this card, which is not surprising. Then it kind of turned out that deck wasn't very good, but there was a hot minute where Charming Prince Yorion was like the thing to do in Standard as well.
Yeah, you get a lot of value.
You do, and the deck got to play 4 Skyclaves, which was obviously the appeal. That's lots and lots and lots of value. All right. Most of the cards are pretty obvious. Damn, I really wish we could play 1 Basilisk Collar. That's like my all-time favorite combo, but it's really, really not good. And unfortunately, you would have to play another card that if you want to do that, I think you would have to play another card that you're not terribly fond of. I'll say it here, but Luminarch Aspirant plus Walking Ballista plus Basilisk Collar is some real nonsense, you know?
That is a combo. I'll give you that much. I do like in Modern the Luminarch Aspirant in like the Heliod deck.
Yeah, I think that deck is great, and Sam Pardee has been pro it, and I actually saw Envoldson posted a bunch of results with it. He scabs on MTGO. I don't know if you saw that.
I don't know if I've seen him get results. I saw him playing Yorion TNT in the Legacy Challenge. I think it was last week.
I think he took a break from the game for a while, but I clicked on his name a bunch of times. He has a modern 3-1 in a prelim with that deck, a modern 5-0 with that deck, and a 17th with Yorion Taxes in Legacy. So he's back in full force. Though apparently he only took a break for 6 months. I guess 6 months is kind of a long time.
Yeah.
But no, he's back to his Rashad and Port nonsense, and I guess by adjacency, modern white pile is how I would put it.
Yeah, mono white decks with bad creatures and artifacts.
Oh, but there's some really good creatures in there. Heliod and Iraq Champion, I think, are busted in modern, personally. You know, and you have to play the 2 of them together because that actually is like insanely good.
Yeah, that is a combo, as it turns out.
Well, people are giving me grief in chat saying, "This is what it's come to." Shaking my head. Gwen Boyd, do I miss lands? A little bit. I just don't love playing decks that are really cold to Force of Negation, and also it's not like 2017 where I literally like half my opponents IRL or on MTGO hadn't played against the deck. Now everyone has played against the deck a lot, so you don't get that many free wins anymore. And yeah, lands isn't lands anymore. It's like all lands decks are like red-green mid-range decks. Oh my gosh. We have my old buddy, Wrath of Mukau. Used to be a stone cold killer in the draft queues. Probably still is. But I don't think he's played like a match of competitive Magic for like 7 years or something ridiculous. You love to see it. But yeah, this is a deck we're gonna play, and how many minutes? Ooh.
1 minute. Oh boy.
1 minute and 20 seconds. All right. What do you think of the name? Oh man, this is a really good username. You White Tang Clan. It's not quite Wu Tang Clan, but
that's pretty good.
Wing Tusar, the last time I played against him, he was playing Oops in the Legacy Showcase. X-File is literally just someone who loves to brew it. The last time he played, he like built some like weird 5-color elementals deck in a Legacy event, and I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. But you love to see it, you know?
Yeah, love seeing nonsense.
Yeah. So let's see. Rock Nation Snow. This person switches a lot, and Vuk actually switches a lot. This person's hardcore Doomsday. Monkeys Can't Cry.
Try to fade that one.
Yeah, we don't have even Mind Sensor. I guess would be the best card, right? But that's also like a little bit on the slow side, personally, sometimes.
Yes, it would. I've messed with the Doomsday matchup a lot, and the thing I've determined is it's just not good. You can play some bad tech.
That's fine, yeah. The real problem is like Canonist and Deafening Silence don't do anything except mean you die on a different turn.
Yeah. Spirit of Labyrinth actually helps a lot in the game ones.
Yep.
Stealing some games. Problem is there are post-board piles just always have Massacre, and you can just never beat it.
All right, we're playing against Mike Ray 4. I don't know what they're playing, and I'm not going to look. All right. Okay. All right. You ever misclick and not reveal your Yorion?
I don't think I've ever misclicked and not revealed a companion before.
All right. Well, given what you've described this deck, I believe this is a keep.
It's got lands and spells. I'm in.
Yeah.
But like, unironically, most hands that have lands and spells are like pretty easy.
I mean, it. Not to be reductive, but really we're playing more mono white Jund nowadays, aren't we?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, this is. Oh, I remember. This person plays Red Prowess now.
This is a pretty good hand against Red Prowess.
Yeah.
And into Stoneforge.
I mean, I want this Stoneforge to not die, but wow. I actually believe they have like maybe one target for Wasteland at most.
Yeah, I don't imagine it's
Wasteland. So, serious question: do I even get Batterskull if I expect my Stoneforge to die?
No, I'm never getting Batterskull here. There's 0% chance the Stoneforge lives. I'd probably just grab GT.
Yep, this is an old trick. That's why I was leaning towards GT, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing something, you know. Generally versus decks that you expect your Stoneforge to die, you should just never get the Batterskull. Yeah, like this. This is what we were predicting, right?
Yep.
So there are a few options. Recruiter for Prelate to set it on 1 is sort of appealing, I think.
Yeah, I kind of want. I was thinking about that line the most, I think. I don't like Canonist. Canonist likely just gets run over like the Stoneforge did. We just take a bunch of damage. I think the best plan is just to get to Prelate on 1.
Yeah, which means I have to play this turn.
Yeah,
I have no good blocks, but you know, that's
fine. Might just block to absorb damage depending on how many spells they throw at our face.
All right. I have so many things I could click on. I have to make sure I'm clicking on the right one.
Everything in the deck is tutorable. Every creature.
Yeah, they have like Arclight Phoenix in their deck too, but you know, there's nothing I can do about that, right?
Yeah. It's possible that maybe.
Oh, okay. No Phoenixes, just a Lava Dart, which is actually like pretty good here too. Uh-oh, this is 2 more looks at Phoenix.
Yeah.
All right, they're thinking a while, which means maybe they don't have one.
You can pray.
But these are already 3/4s. This is like...
I expect them to probably dart our recruiter, but if they don't, I'm definitely just blocking here.
Yeah, because they can trade 1 damage for 3, or 1 damage for 4, actually, right?
Yeah. So very powerful lava dart. Maybe they just missed on all their lands. Oh, they discarded 2 lands. Yeah.
Yes. Crash Zero was one of the better cards in this deck, but
Crash seems like a card I would almost want to cast here, which is I'm very scared of the last card. I guess if you're lava darting, they don't need to crash through. And never mind. That's fair. Are we just dead?
No,
we're
13.
only mostly dead.
It's 13 damage, so we're at 3, which is really not healthy, I would say.
Well,
we
can.
I'm gonna play Round Price of Progress for free. Like, there's no reason not to.
There reason not to. We're probably gonna have to not play around it next turn, but
I mean, I just hope that they draw only 1-drops. This shuts off all of the lootings too, which is nice.
Yeah, it just seems like most of their deck is 1-drops, so we should be maybe okay. Oh, never mind, we're dead.
Okay, well, I mean, unfortunate, but it happens.
Yeah, definitely.
This person ported their modern deck, Scott.
Said Lavatar wasn't a legacy. Yes, I did say that once.
Not great options. I assume, like, we don't really sideboard much. CJ seems like kind of a slam dunk. I'm not thrilled about this. This is just a 3-mana 1/1 that gets off darted. Honestly, like, I guess you could make a case for this, but it seems kind of loose.
Yeah, kind of depends on what our bad cards are, and I think after sort of Feast and Famine,
yeah,
our cards are like all kind of okay.
I'm inclined to like shave like Canist maybe, but
Canist is good if they don't like it either eats a bolt or like stunts their like faithless looting nonsense, right? It prevents Phoenixes from coming into play.
Oh, for that reason, should we have Containment Priest?
It's maybe interesting. Is Phoenix a May?
No, I've proved. Someone IRL played that deck against me in FNM, and I knew, so I just waited for them to do their thing, and I cast Priest, and they're like, and they didn't put them in exile. I'm like, all your stuff is exiled now. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that Archaic Phoenix isn't May, but
or it's really fortunate depending on which side of the coin you're on.
All right, can we shave like 2 Flicker Wisps?
Yeah, Flicker Wisp just like slow 3-drops. Recruiters
that dies to
Lava
Dart. Lava Dart is so good versus deck. It's kind of obscene, you know.
Yeah, we have a lot of 1 toughness things, as it turns out.
I feel like this is not the matchup we were hoping for. Like, quite frankly.
Oh yeah, Vivera says Deafening Silence seems very good. Yeah, Deafening Silence is.
Oh really? Okay. I'm down to shave like another Flicker Wisp.
We just want to prevent like those obscene turns. Like we just got like flattened over 2 turns, right? And Deafening Silence is just one of those stopgap cards, especially because it just comes down on turn 1.
Whereas I think Trap is the wrong way to approach it because like the damage is already done by the time.
Yeah, they've already cast the first 2 spells. It's
Whoops.
like
nope. Get that out. Accidentally was like highlighting over it. I think this is too narrow. Like they can very easily beat us without their graveyard is the problem.
So. Yeah, definitely. I'd have to see more of the deck to know for certain, but like if they had like Lava Dart, Phoenix, Bedlam Reveler or something, then maybe you start to consider it.
No, they do have Reveler. Crap. They have 2.
2.
They fortunately do not gain much versus us. They gain like a Shenanigans and a Pithing Needle.
Yeah.
Which is not a lot. But they have 4 Lava Darts, 2 Abrades, 4 Bolt, 4 Chain Lightning. That's
like you definitely just don't really want to play again. You just want to like play Sanctum Prelate on turn 3 every time, or like on turn 1.
I think I have to mulligan this hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Well, now we have to keep this hand.
This is a keep, but unexciting.
Yeah.
I think I bottom Council's Judgment personally.
Yep. This card's just like never getting cast.
Yeah, it's like a clunky 3-drop and our mana's bad.
Yep.
By the way, I confirmed they have literally no targets for Wasteland.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
19 mountains, so let's go.
This is definitely one of those matchups that you do get punished for like by putting Yorion in your deck because you do have like a very critical mass of your important cards and like not dying early, drawing your stuff like Source of Plowshares and Stoneforge Mystics. We don't want to just draw random filler.
Well, Gonna hope that their
We're
deck.
gonna braid this vial and we're gonna die. Oh wait. Okay, never mind. The nightmare's still alive.
Manamorphose is still one of the most broken cards in Modern that's still legal, I think, actually.
We're getting into chump block with Mother of Runes territory.
I think I'm
quickly
going
here.
to if they let me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm down to gain 5 life.
No, I don't think we can afford to get the Mother of Runes shields up, like, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, like, this hand needs a white source to really unlock it, and we can actually get some stuff going. So gaining 5 life here is pretty worth it.
I didn't really consider keeping it on 1 because I think it's just too bad to do that. But maybe it wasn't.
I think I would have just ticked it up to 2. Remorseful Cleric is probably going to end up being
Candace might be good, depending on what they do, actually.
Candace is decent now.
If they cast Soulscar Mage or something, I'm just going to Violent Candace.
Yeah. I mean, they could...
Oh.
I think we're supposed to... Yeah, we're supposed to put it in response to literally anything.
Yep.
We don't get to block this, but we only take 2 now, and they burn their mana here.
Okay, I guess this is why Deafening Silence is really good versus deck. Alright, I see it now.
Yeah, they fire off a lot of spells real fast.
Mana Burn for 2 has been called. No, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately, anymore. Fortunately for our opponent, unfortunate for us. Alright, I think I need to tick up to 3 and hope to draw a white source.
Yep. We definitely just want to take power off the board.
In before Pyrite Spellbomb.
That guess.
I think Pyrite Spellbomb's probably not good enough for Legacy, if I had to guess.
Ooh.
So, should I just, I could upkeep it, actually. Is there a gain to that? So if they had Lightning Bolt, they did not have a window to cast it, really, so...
They could have cast it before this Vial went to 3 if they were respecting Wisp, but...
Alright, I think I'm going to just say go and Vial upkeep, putting in Perlite naming 1.
Yeah. Unfortunately, even if it gets the Abrade at least, the Canonist still continues to hold down the fort from us taking too much damage. We just need to hope this is good enough.
I mean, there's a chance that it isn't, and, when you sign up to play Yorion Taxes, you don't hope for someone who has, 9,000 burn spells and cheap threats,
Yeah.
Oh, God, I hate this.
Never blocking.
Yeah, I know. I guess I'll just take my 2 damage because I'll cast a Braid or something. This could also very easily be a bluff attack.
Yeah. Could just be getting in that chip damage, but the fact that we also have Apparition coming down the pipeline means that I think taking the 1 damage is probably worth reading the bluff, because if it's not a bluff, we just lose.
Yeah, that was my instinct as well. They tapped 2 and then untapped it? What does that mean?
Not really sure. Wow, this
sucks a lot.
Really doesn't want to show up,
huh? I think I'm just going to attack. I don't really want to block with either of these.
Yeah, and if they cast another Swiss Spear, that's their card for the turn, which means we can Skyclave 1 and block the other and kill them both. They don't have any good attacks here. If they just go to combat, then we just obviously kill the Swiss Spear.
I feel like not drawing a Plains has made this game a lot harder than it should have been.
Yeah, if we had found a Plains, this game would be going very well for us.
So, if I don't do anything, I can maybe bluff them into not trying to kill my Prelate.
Maybe.
But
9's a lot different than 10, assuming they get the Prelate off the board. Are we supposed to be expecting something like volcanic fallout out of their deck?
The last list I looked from them did not have that card, so I'm not going to play around it.
Okay, that's fair. I think I would just apparition this Sphere.
All right. Well, I'll see if they can cast a spell. All right.
I think if they had the Abrade or whatever, they definitely would have just cast it last turn while the vial was tapped. So they don't run into Flicker Wise. But like, they're just living off the top of the deck at this point, and I think they keep tapping this 2-mana. Oh, interesting.
Wow. I'm okay with that actually. Oh, this makes so much sense. Okay.
They're just digging.
This actually does make sense, and we cannot hit that with a Skyclave. Obviously, they discarded a bunch of 1-drops, which makes sense. Yeah. A bolt, a dart, and a Swift Spear and a chain. Okay, so they just wanted to improve their hand because their hand was actually awful.
Yeah, their hand was just locked by Paralysis. So they're just digging for a Braid.
Yo, Rengoth, thank you for the sub.
This thing really gets us good.
Oh my god, really?
We can't cast any of the spells in our hand.
I mean, we can't cast any spells in our hand. Otherwise, like if we just drawn a Plains and gotten like a Sword of Fine Race or a Barraskull, like instead, I think I'm gonna have to take 3 damage per turn. Unfortunately.
Yep.
Man, this sucks.
Pretty sure their deck has the Fire Blasting.
Prelate. Okay, that makes sense as well. Like, yep.
Yeah.
They're just mowing themselves for 2 looking for Phoenix. And they did not hit.
I don't think we can block this.
No, I think I just have to take the 5 and hope they lose the top deck. They are Hellbent, so that's the good part.
Hellbent and on 1 land. So we have a lot of live hits.
Well, okay. Let's think about this. At least that does something, right?
Yeah. Jason's been a big fan of these Cavernous Souls. I have not. Obviously, this is pretty results oriented, but
So option 1. Well, okay. I think all of my options lead to me blocking this turn. So the question is, how do I want to approach that? I think my instinct is to play the Stoneforge, searching for Jite. Or I could search for Barraskull and just block with Apparition.
You can't put in the Barraskull though. Still,
I know, but like I think we only win if we draw White Source anyways. So why not be optimistic, right?
That's fair. If we put it on Cleric, we can chump block with Remorseful Cleric for a turn, draw a White Source, Mom plus Stoneforge in the same turn.
So someone in chat says Cavern lets us chump with Mom forever. Yeah, that means for you to do that, you would have to block with Apparition first, I think, is what they actually mean.
Oh, okay.
Which is not unreasonable, but there's a lot of issues with that. I think the Stoneforge play is best, personally, but I don't have really anything to back it up except instinct. God, why didn't we just draw Plains then forever?
Yeah, my instinct was probably cast Remorseful Cleric this turn and hope to double spell once we draw a land.
So you want to name Cleric and play the Remorseful Cleric? Yeah,
I think so.
Well, so the problem with that is Lava Dart means we have to block with that. So that's the other problem with this.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I think maybe I should just play the Mystic and hope. Alright, I think I'm going to override you and play the Mystic, because I think playing any of these just means you get darted.
Yeah, I didn't think about the Lava Dart. The Lava Dart definitely factors into the equation really badly for casting any of our 1 toughness creatures here.
And I think I'm just going to be optimistic and hope, because this is ridiculous. Like, I mean, obviously we're still only like 25% to draw a White Source untapped. Maybe a little bit higher because of Caracas, but
yeah. I think the Lava Dart was 100. This is 100% the right play now.
Single planes makes this game so easy, I feel like. And yeah, that, I mean, there are reasons not to play so many caverns. Like,
Yeah.
I think this is a forced block because if they have literally anything, like giving them a 1/1, I don't think actually matters that much.
Yeah, I mean, we have to block this where we literally die, right? They love our face and we take exactly 5.
Oh yeah, never mind. Right.
Just draw planes here and be fine. Oh no, we're just.
Oh my god, really? Okay, well, planes is still like fine at least, but I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, well that works too. Obviously this is very unsafe for a lot of reasons, but you know.
Yeah, can't do anything about it.
Think I should just plow it now? No.
Yeah. Is there a reason to not plow it now?
I'm trying to construct one. There actually isn't, because if they want to gain 1 life off their lava dart, that's fine. All right.
So we're just dead to any 3 damage spell.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, that's the life we choose to live.
1, 2, 3, 4. They've already been through 5 of them. That's the good news. The bad news is, yes, they are all literally lethal.
They have a lot more. Okay. All right. Well,
that's fine.
Right. You just draw like a 3-drop as well would be pretty decent.
Yep. This is really some.
This was the unfortunate thing about putting the cavern on core is that it doesn't actually cast any of our other spells after this. If we played this, we.
Wait, I'm just dead now to the lava dart, right?
Not dead.
No, I see. But I have to feed something to the lava dart, essentially.
Yeah. If we play a creature, we go to 1 instead.
And also doing this forces them to do this, so it, like if they somehow flood, that shuts them off the looting that's in their yard. So I think this is probably correct. Sag.
I wonder if it might have been correct to play the mom here, actually, because the Remorse Flare could potentially trade with the Soul Scar down the line. Looks like it might not matter. No, they're just floating mana.
Well, floating mana is, I think, the technically correct play.
Yeah. I thought they were just casting a different spell first and killing us, but we're technically not dead yet. Nice.
So now I have to draw a white source and block both, and then, like...
Yeah, this is why...
I mean... Okay.
I didn't think about it until just now, but I think we wanted to play the mom to bait the lava dart there, because then if we draw white source, we can play mom plus... Oh, well, we're dead.
Oh, we'll make them do it, because if we can bluff them, which actually, if they've been tracking the game, it's almost impossible to bluff them there, right?
Yeah.
Because they know our likely draw was Thalia, because otherwise, why wouldn't we just play Thalia last turn, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Thalia also eats into the lava dart plus the mana there. But...
that was, like, kind of shit. I mean, yeah. I feel like our deck really did not want to cooperate. And obviously that happens, but even in a Yorion deck, for this to happen like this on turn like 10 plus is actually pretty unlikely.
Yeah, you know? The Yorion deck actually has like just better, like more white sources than normal Death and Taxes too, which is one of the reasons I like it. Because I think 60-card Death and Taxes mana bases are actually just obscenely greedy, and they should be playing more planes.
Well, so how many do we actually have? We have 17, 21 out of 80. So that would be sort of akin to 15.25 out of 60.
Yeah, most Death and Taxes lists right now are around like 15, 16, I think, maybe.
So we're a little bit higher. I mean, yeah, honestly, if that cavern was a plains, we'd have easily won that game, I think, which is really something to think about. Personally, I'm not sure you need so many caverns. Maybe like playing 1 or 2 is a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be on 2. I know Jason Lewinell has been playing 3 for a while and liking it. I've come up with a fair number of spots where stuff like that does happen against decks that like the counter magic just never matters.
Yeah,
like elves where you need to like really curve out with like different white creatures.
Well,
also that's just kind of the name of the game, especially when you just don't register cantrips in your deck. Sometimes you just kind of have those unfortunate games.
Unbanned Mental Misstep asks, by turn 10, what was the odds still not drawing the planes? Well, it's kind of bad to think about stuff like that because it happens to someone, and like calculating the probability of it happening to you does nothing except cause you to be miserable. So I'm not going to work it out. Literally that's my answer. God, you haven't got beat not that fast.
Yeah,
but I don't want to start a match in a league because that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, especially with a slow deck like this.
All right. Let's see what else we can do. We can look at other deck lists. Oh, okay, let's go over the modern version of this deck, which I think you have been testing. And you're playing the thing this weekend, right?
Yeah, the energy split format event.
Yeah, I'm not because I have to cover an event on Sunday for a different website. Pascal's website, Set Roulette. It's pretty cool. It's a fake format every week. Basically, people have 8 days to build a new deck with like 6 randomly generated sets, so it's like kind of cool.
Yeah.
But this time, Survival and Vengevine are legal, so it was a little bit easier this time, I think. Because I don't know if you've played with Vengevine Survival.
Stuff. Also, Emrakul and like Goryo's Vengeance or something.
Yeah, but it turns out that we figured out that if you just have a Hangerback Walker with 2 counters on it, the Emrakul deck can't win. It can't deal more than like... So you attack them, they sack their board, they block with 1 token, then it takes them so long to rebuild that you'll actually rebuild faster than they do, and you won't take the 15 damage. So they have to like do this thing 3 times. And Goryo's Vengeance removes your Emrakul from... It actually removes it at end step, so it's not even shuffled back in. So like Hangerback is actually a huge problem. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends in one of my group chats that are like brewing different decks for that format.
I think if you really want to win, you probably should play Vengevine Survival, but I hope someone figures out how to beat it. I'm not convinced anyone actually can because, you know, Vengevine plus Survival plus Hangerback triggering your Vengevines for free is kind of broken.
Yeah, sounds like it.
All right. Just play Oops in League. I'd rather not do that. Instead, let's look at this deck. And this Scabs is Tom Sendvilson, and you've been playing something close to this, haven't you, right?
I haven't actually played much of like this deck. I've been messing around with other stuff. I played actual Modern Death and Taxes for a little bit. I got baited into thinking that deck was playable. I don't think Yorion, for the same reasons that I think Yorion's really good in Legacy, I don't think Yorion is very good in Modern.
Yeah, I would 100% believe that. Like, Modern is actually faster than Legacy, I think, generally speaking, which is kind of weird to say. Because, like, if you just measure by what deck can kill the fastest, obviously that's not true whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But then if you look at, like, average fundamental turns of decks that people actually play, I think it might actually be true. Which is kind of funny to think about.
And Modern doesn't even like the control decks aren't beating you, like grinding you into oblivion. They're beating you with just like ridiculous over the top nonsense, like Mystic Sanctuary cryptic commands and stuff. Like Yorion's not going to help that.
Yeah. So I think this is pretty much the stock deck. This is the one pretty close to what Sam played as well. Notice that they really, really hate the blue decks post board. They have literal boil in their like mono white deck essentially.
Yeah. The only way to interact with those decks. I've been complaining about it a lot because I historically have not enjoyed playing Modern for a variety of reasons.
Oh yeah, I remember. You did not love getting your lands burning Inquiry away and losing because of it.
Burning Inquiry, one of my least favorite cards I've ever played against, I'll be honest.
Archmage's Charm is Legacy's cryptic command. Interesting way to put it, because I don't think that card's particularly good in Legacy. It's so hard to cast! Blue, blue, blue.
People keep putting it in the Snow Miracles deck. And
yeah, Mark loves that card. That's why that deck had like 2 copies of it. And I just look at it, I'm just like, if you don't draw an Astrolabe and you want to play around Wasteland, it's actually impossible to cast that card.
Yeah, the Miracles mana base is actually just like horrendous, even with Astrolabe.
Well, yeah, it depends on what stage of the game you're on. I think a lot of it has to do is that Carpet of Flowers is really powerful in the blue mirrors that you can get away with some of that.
Yeah.
Oh, Archmage's Charm is for Doomsday? Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Is it target player?
Yeah, you can target a player. But the thing is, if you're... Okay. I think in an open decklist tournament, a Doomsday player can play around that, but in a closed decklist tournament, it's obviously like a lot harder to see that coming, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you can definitely make a pile that plays around that. Because you can Thassa's Oracle with exactly 2 cards in your deck with like Cavern of Souls or something, you know? Anyways, this is the deck. I think it's pretty sweet. Like, I'm not a fan of just mid-ranging in Modern. I feel like having like some sort of small combo in your deck to kill your opponent with is a lot better.
Yeah.
And there's a few mini combos. Like, Heliod Ballista is like obvious, but that actually costs like 6 mana. What actually happens a lot of the time with this deck is I think you're actually a Luminarch Aspirant combo deck, as much as it might pain you to say that. No, but like seriously, what actually happens is like you play Auriok Champion, you play Heliod, you play Aspirant, you get a counter for the Auriok Champion triggering with Heliod in play. You put on something, then you like Ranger Captain up a Walking Ballista, cast that, put counters from that on the Ballista. It gets out of hand pretty quickly if none of the creatures are killed.
Yeah, I should really play this deck more. I've been memeing with the Hammer Time deck, which has been fun.
I believe that deck is not very good, actually. I played against it quite a bit. Even with like snow control, and you're like, they should hypothetically be good in that matchup, but what actually happens is their deck is not good like versus 1 mana spells, generally speaking, is the actual problem. Like, do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, I would hate to play that deck versus someone who literally registered Lava Dart. It would be horrible.
Yeah, it's like Infect that's supposed to be better against Lava Dart because like some of your things have like 2 toughness instead of 1. But I found it does have similar problems against removal spells. It's definitely like a fun meme deck. I might just register it because I don't like thinking about Modern,
Sure.
and I don't want to put in the effort to like try other things. But
I feel like you could play this deck relatively competently without actually playing that many matches with it, though.
Yeah.
And I think this deck, like, it has proven, like, I think it has enough good finishes that I would be okay registering some version of this deck, just like copy and paste, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Newton suggests White Green Reclaimer. Newton played White Green Reclaimer in the MOCS, like he qualified for, and I think he had a decent record in Modern. I think he went 2-1 in both formats. Essentially, it was like a weird structure where if you didn't 3-0 one of the formats, you didn't actually make the finals. But going 2-1 in both formats with that caliber competition is still a pretty good record, you know.
Yeah, he got like 3rd place, but he had had a better record than 2nd place or something, I think.
Well, yeah, he had a better record than 1st place actually, and let me explain why. The 1st place person, they 3-0 draft, so that means they were locked. And once they lost the first round of Modern, it was already like 11 a.m. in Japan. They had been up since like midnight, so they probably did not try as hard until the finals, you know? Because like, what's an incentive? Like, you're just gonna wear yourself out for literally no gain.
Yeah.
So let's look at the White Green Reclaimer deck. I mean, I think that one you would have to play a bunch before registering it because it has like a lot going on. Oh yeah, I think this deck should play 1 Simian Spirit Guide. That was my thought when I looked at it. I think this card is. I think this card is unplayably bad now, unfortunately.
Is it just like a bad 5th Proclaimer is the thing? Like you sack your.
Well, it's like Harrow, if you know what that card is.
Yes, isn't it just literally Harrow?
It's Harrow
puts
on
them
untapped.
Harrow puts them in untapped, right?
Yeah, I would not play this card. I think you should have 1 Spirit Guide because what actually happens is often that you're like exactly at 5 mana, but if you had a turn to like just call for a Spirit Guide at any point, you would be at 6. And it doesn't cost you much, and when it's bad, it's easy to side out, which I love.
Yeah. I've also seen this deck play Boil in the sideboard sometimes, and you can
about half the list do.
Yeah, you can call for Spirit Guide to mana fix you if you can't cast your Boil.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, like people often play 2 Boil. The Kozilek is mostly a meme, but it's supposed to be for Mill.
Yeah, there was Mill won a challenge at some point. And everyone just put in an Eldrazi or a Gaia's Blessing or whatever in their sideboard for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I believe Gaia's Blessing is better because in the fail case where you draw it, you'd much rather draw Gaia's Blessing, I think, than Kozilek, because like realistically, games of Modern don't come down to you having 10 mana to cast this BS Eldrazi, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's maybe a little different for this deck. 'Cause this deck does make a bunch of mana if you just have Reclaimer plus Flagstone sitting there for a while.
Yeah.
It's got 33 lands in it.
Oh, this person does have... Well, it's actually sneakily... Oh, this person's not doing that, but a lot of people play one floral something Hedron.
Oh, Floral...
Oh, wow. I'm looking at...
It's Tangled Flora Hedron.
Person says that deck is so much slower than Amulet, then I clicked on their deck list by accident. That's really funny. Yeah, Tangled Flora Hedron. Because Hedrons exist on Zendikar.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I don't mind Modern, but I understand people who don't like it as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now,
big fan of like finding formats that you enjoy and like just don't subject yourself to something if you don't enjoy it, but like don't shit on other people for having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone gets something different out of it.
Now, I don't understand why people still play Pioneer. That's
now like, that said, let's shit on this format.
No, I'm not shitting on it. It's literally what the problem is. I think it and Historic are like kind of similar in a lot of ways, even though they do have a different ban list. Both of them, they sort of came out at the same time and they sort of do similar things, so I just don't feel any need to play both of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think Pioneer did just get wrecked by COVID, honestly. Like they were planning on trying to support it in like big numbers in paper, and then it just fell flat on its face off for obvious reasons.
Yep. All right. Let's see how many matches are left. 2 matches left. Hopefully we. I
also think it's silly that 2 of Pioneer's most played decks are just like standard decks.
Ozymandias says Pioneer would be great if they just banned Uro. That checks out actually. I'm not
Pioneer in that sentence with a lot of formats.
I was about to say, don't let XJ get started on Uro Oko rants. We can't allow that. How about we talk about why you don't like Luminarch Aspirant in Legacy?
I mean, if you actually want me to rant about Luminarch Aspirant, I can give you the little recap of like it's not good at basically at most stages of the game in most matchups is the short term version of it. Like
right.
Not modern. Legacy is either extremely interactive or extremely uninteractive, and there's not a lot of like in between like slow board stally removal light matchups. Like if I was playing the Mirror and Maverick a bunch, then a card like Luminarch Aspirant would be more interesting. But like you're either playing against Snow or Delver, in which you're never just going to have your Luminarch Aspirant in play for more than a couple turns, or you're playing against like Doomsday, and your increased clock from like 7-turn clock to 6-turn clock just isn't going to matter at all. You want more cards that interact with your opponent in that case. Okay,
all that checks out with me. I still, you know me, I live for Aspirant plus Walking Ballista. I probably spammed that to you like 1,000 times in that one chat. And I think that makes more sense than just playing like essentially Tarmogoyf, right?
Yes.
A very slow Tarmogoyf at that, you know?
Yeah. I'm not confident that if Tarmogoyf was 1 and a white, that Death and Taxes would play it in the deck.
I actually am pretty sure they wouldn't, because look at Rug. They cut all of their Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah.
Like, if you extend the reasoning from that to D&T, it just stands to reason that Vanilla Creature is not very good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Aspirant does a little bit more than that, and we're memeing a little, but it's not great. Newton, we played against Mono Red Prowess and got our face pretty badly pounded, although I think Game 2 was a statistical anomaly. Game 1, I would expect them to win like most of the time with our hands in Game 1, you know? Zabophone says, I do love Aspirant, I just think maybe we need a 1-mana beater rather than a 2-mana beater. But I think the theory is we don't need a beater whatsoever, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, Aspirant has a, like, very big diminishing returns as the game goes longer. Your Aspirant on turn 10 is really bad. Your Stoneforge on turn 10 is still great. Assuming you haven't drawn all your equipment.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't know, like, Aspirant, I think, is the wrong type of grindy card. If you could even call it a grindy card, really. Like,
Yeah.
at its core, it sort of is, but also sort of isn't.
Because it wants you to like take a lot of turns, right, to get the most value out of it. You want to keep getting those triggers, but it does try to kill your opponent and take as little turns as possible. So it's kind of weird.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Mono red prowess is definitely not the matchup we're looking for with Yorion Taxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in fact, the like best card that we would want versus them is something we don't even play. Probably like Auriok Champion is literally the best card possible.
Yeah.
Or Core Firewalker, depending on how you're feeling.
I've sideboarded a Core Firewalker and Death and Taxes at one point.
Yeah, it really depends on how much like specifically mono red burn you expect, I think.
Yeah.
Or even like red blue burn, I guess, in some fringe cases, right?
Yeah, I won I forget what it was. It was some like local-ish. I think it might have been like an energy event too in paper a while back with Fiendslayer Paladin in my deck.
Oh yeah. That card's not unreasonable. I think it's pretty close. I think by modern era standards, it's like kind of not where you want to be at anymore, but I definitely could see it at certain points.
It was big because like Bolt and Push were like the premier removal spells at that point, and being immune to both of those was great.
Yeah, but it's funny because it doesn't actually have protection from red or black, which means it can still be blocked by red or black creatures.
Yes, it's not good against Gurmag Angler or Liliana of the Last Hope.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that it works out. I thought it didn't have hexproof from black though.
No, that was before the hexproof from X.
Oh,
it just can be targeted by red or black spells.
But it does have First Strike and Lifelink, which is weird.
Yeah, and it's got a cool lightsaber.
Would you say this is a Jedi card or a Sith card?
It's absolutely a Jedi card. Look at that. Toyed around with Lone Missionary back in the day. Ooh, digging deep.
I remember Lone Missionary. I remember when people were trying to return that with Myriad the Sky Ruin in Standard.
I don't, because I was not playing Magic.
Yeah, it turns out all you have to do is get a bunch of planes in play, then you can get your Sun Titans back very, very slowly, and then your opponent will lose to an overwhelming amount of card advantage.
What if it wasn't in a white frame? I don't know. It's like a blue lightsaber, right? Isn't that like very Jedi?
Has this ever been reprinted? I don't think so, right? Sets and legality. Oh, it's an archenemy Nicol Bolas. That's really funny.
Clearly fighting with the good guys.
You know, I think at the very beginning of Modern, it was already like kind of a warped format because there were so many broken things you could do. We need Legacy Council for the rolling. I don't know. So here's the actual thing. I think Sith tend to have like red lightsabers actually.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Jedi lightsabers like green or blue and Sith are like red.
And if you were like me when you were a kid, I actually did read the books about like kids building their own lightsabers at the Jedi Academy. It was like a mini series, and you could choose which like weird power crystals to put in, and they would produce different colors because that's how it works. And no one chose the red power crystals
because no one wanted to be evil.
Gangsters are purple. What?
Mace Windu's the only purple one, at least to my rookie Star Wars knowledge. There's probably some bullshit in the books about some other guy with a purple lightsaber.
You know, lightsaber colors. Let's go. Let's see what Google tells us.
There was like a game that played on the PS4 that like had like a pink lightsaber by the end because you get to build your lightsaber in that.
I don't remember there being a black Darksaber thing.
Oh, to Newton, I missed his question. Do any lists run Mirror Crusader anymore not good enough? It's kind of really bad right now. We're in a very bolt and plow heavy meta. It just doesn't really line up in almost any of the matchups at this point.
Look at all of the people in Twitch chat informing me of how lightsabers work. Apparently, people care more about this than the games we lost. To be fair, the games we lost were not that interesting, honestly. Like,
Yes, we got flattened, and then we didn't draw a white source for 9 turns.
I do believe like a white source for like most of that game is probably game winning, which is kind of sick if you think about it.
I think at every turn before the turn that we drew it, it was probably gonna turn the game.
Yep. Also, do you hate how? Okay, I guess I should be worried about. Is it spoilers to talk about the end of that movie now?
The what, episode 9?
Yeah.
It's been like what, a year, 2 years? I don't even know.
A year. Okay. Don't you think it was a cop out how they just made Rey like the daughter of royalty essentially?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was really bad and clashing because the directors were different from like 8 to 9, and 8 wanted to be all about like your bloodline doesn't matter, and then they went to 9 with a different director, and they were like, never mind, it definitely does.
I hate it actually. I think that was real bad.
Yes, it was not good.
And that's my rant about how two different directors can definitely ruin it. Wasn't it just a cop out to make a horrible movie to finish out the trilogy? Well, yes, that's a different issue.
Yes, there were a lot of issues with the 789.
9 could have been better if they had followed through. I mean, I agree with that. That like switching directors is clearly a really bad thing to do, right?
Yeah, they.
Was it supposed to be I'm trying to remember.
I forget exactly what happened between 8 and 9 or 7 and 8.
So it was supposed to be Rian Johnson. Then who was 9?
They switched back.
J.J. Abrams. They switched back to J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, he did 7 and 9, didn't he? Yeah,
I feel like we could have avoided all of this if we had just chosen one director for all 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the main issue. Oh, we get to play Magic again.
We do. I hope Shermader's on Oops anymore. Abrams is so bad at endings. What else did he direct? Didn't he direct whatever the Star Trek reboot was? What was that? It's been years since I've watched that movie. Oh, I've never watched Lost.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Lost is like famously horrible ending. I've never watched either, but...
Well, good. I'll never have to suffer through it.
Yes.
All right, we're playing against Wu-Tang Clan. Do you think they're playing white-blue?
I hope so.
All right. I mean, this is what I signed up for, right?
Lower end of lands and keeps, but against the opponent named Wu-Tang Clan, too. I'm happy to play Spirit Labyrinth on turn 2. A fan of your content. Good luck, etc.
I'm a lock to lose now, by the way.
Is that just how it goes on the stream?
I don't have a great track record now. I guess I should also say TY.
I played against someone at Eternal Weekend who was like, "Oh, hey, I'm a huge fan of your content. You're literally how I learned to play Death and Taxes," and then they like played a Karn on turn 1. It's like, okay.
Wait, weren't you playing Bomberman?
I was also playing Bomberman. Yes,
yeah, so Karn's even worse for you than it would be for normal Death and Taxes, even though it's like pretty bad overall, right?
Yes, Death and Taxes is unlikely to beat a Karn on turn 1 as well.
Right, because they'll probably lie to steal on 2 because they can get led first.
Yeah.
I don't know. Fast Mana is kind of nonsense, but it's sort of a feature of this format, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Not as bad as Vintage Supreme Cube Draft.
Turn 1 Karn is a combo, yes. I would agree.
Yeah, the combo is your opponent loses.
Yes.
Opponent's going to 5. Oh my god, this smells like something we don't want to play against.
It's always like, all right, well, it's either we win or we lose, and there's not a lot of in between there.
Oh yeah, the GLHF means you're either getting Blood Mooned, Turn 1, or Chalice on 1.
Yes.
Or dredged, which is equivalent to getting turn 1, right?
Yeah. I've had a lot of Grizzled Brands put into play on turn 1 after the GLHF. Oh, nice. Oh, wait,
Oh,
no,
it's Rainbow
Depths.
Depths. It's Rainbow Depths.
Hey, we have a chance.
Okay.
We have a Crocus in our hand. What are they thoughts these here? The Wisp or the Cleric?
Our hand's not actually great for the matchup, but we'll take it, right?
Yeah. We're running a lot of matchups today that have definitely been worsened by Yorion. This matchup is still fine.
But the first matchup is definitely where you would rather be streamlined and, draw your Thalias and Vials more often,
Yeah, absolutely. This one also similar, where we want to draw our Wastelands and Crocus. I guess Crocus is the same ratio, but it just goes from like a super good matchup to a pretty good matchup, because we still just have a bunch of cards in our deck that are very good at interacting with them.
Well, this opponent is not named Negator 77, so I feel better about what's going on. I think I just play the Cleric this turn.
Yeah.
I mean, there was like a small amount of merit to just playing Caracas and saying go, but I don't think so, actually.
We want to get our beatdowns on for sure.
Agreed.
And like, there's very low odds that the 4 cards in their hand make a 20/20 that turn. And even if they do, we can chump it with Remorseful Cleric. If they had like crop rotation, double Spirit Guide, or it'd have to be, I don't even know, some nonsense combination of cards that Negator always has.
So there's a few ways to play this. I think I want to force it out and just play Perolate and name 1 probably.
It's tempting to put it on 1 because it beats crop rotation.
It also shuts off Pithing Needle.
Yeah, for the Caracas. It should have Pithing Needle for Caracas and crop rotation for Wasteland for Caracas. Yeah. Means that the outs are a lot worse. 3 cards in hand means that we're even, again, if there's like double crop rotation in response to the Prelate, we still do have this Cleric to block and then Caracas after.
So I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah. The other argument would be put it on like 7 or whatever Not of This World is. But I probably...
Interesting that our choices are 1 or 7.
Not of This World could counter a Caracas.
But I think I'm supposed to do it on 1 and see what they do.
Yeah, cast it. If they cast like a couple of crop rotations, I'd be maybe tempted to put on like 2. Turn off like Sylvan Scrying and not turn off our cards.
All right, so they're casting rotation.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. This is why I did this, because I want to see where I'm at before I actually engage in anything, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like, if they cast double crop rotation, obviously, we don't want to attack with this Remorseful Cleric.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can't get 20/20 this turn, which is very big.
Well, we could if... Oh, no. If we name one, if we name 1, we can't.
Yes, that's what I mean.
So I think we should name 1 still.
Yeah. We only have 6 ones that we can draw.
And so next turn, what I can do is play the second Prolate, name 7, and then leave up Caracas, and we're pretty safe, I think. That's my instinct.
We'll see where we go, because there's a chance we want to put it on like 2 instead. I don't know how much Not of This World will even end up mattering because of Remorseful Cleric as a thing we can put in front of it. Since if we put it on 1 and 2, there are tutors for whatever the
Sejiri Step.
Sejiri Step, yeah, would all be shut off. So they'd have to have natural Sejiri Step plus Not of This World. But
what did they keep? Probably Confluence, Urborg, Crop Rotation, and 2 other cards on 5 cards.
Yeah, Thoughtseize, 2 lands, Crop Rotation or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, would you go to 4?
Ooh.
Oh, is that different from playing Caracas? I don't know.
If we Wasteland the Dark Depths and put this other Prelate on 2, that means they just have to naturally draw one of the other 3 Dark Depths.
Okay. Maybe I just play it first and see what happens. Yeah, they went to 5 cards, Orm.
Oh, yeah, that is true. They also did mull to 5, so their hand is like probably pretty mediocre. We just want to kill them as fast as possible now. We just want to be putting creatures in play.
Yeah, all of our creatures have text. None of them are Luminarch Aspirants.
Yes.
I think 2 is correct, then.
Yeah.
And I'll just play the Wasteland.
I think you just want to Wasteland the Dark Depths.
Do I even have to right now?
If they, like, play Stage, we don't want to, like, get into that fight, right?
Well, then I see.
It's not like the end of the world. It's unfortunate if they end up having a second Dark Depths, but like I said, they've literally the only way for them to find Dark Depths now is the actual 3 other Dark Depths in their deck.
I think I might wait because of them mulling to 5, in which case I should have actually played Caracas.
Yeah, if we're not wastelanding this turn, then we probably.
But I've decided that I think it's more likely that one of their cards is. Oh no, they rotated for the depths.
Yeah, they rotated for the depths, which was
okay.
Interest in hitting it with wasteland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that they can't cast rotation and they specifically tutored out the depths, and we've turned off all their tutors now.
Yeah, well, once I realized they had to actually rotate for the depths, I'm like, okay, you're probably right then. I was thinking it all the way through before snapping it off.
Yeah, for sure. Peacekeeper's real good in this matchup.
Seems custom made for this matchup. I feel like Sword of Fire and Ice is bad. Canis is not great. Besides that, I mean, like, Council's Judgment, maybe.
Yeah, CJ is good. You want to be able to answer Sylvan Safekeeper, especially with that
Oh,
Overlord
sure. I
Spirit,
think this card is actually pretty good, but Spirit is like, whatever, right?
Yeah, Spirit of Labyrinth is the card that I would look towards cutting next. I go back and forth on whether or not I like Surgical Extraction in the matchup.
Just to force them to combo twice, but I feel like most of the games actually revolve around there being exactly one like big fight, and then whoever wins that wins, and surgicaling it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. The biggest thing about surgical is honestly like the hand information.
I actually have brought that up a bunch of times. I think trying to surgical them to like prison them out is wrong, but trying to surgical them to figure out the correct play is actually more often correct.
Yes, I agree with that. I like surgical a lot. I'll just surgical like a random like discard spell or something like a confrontation or something.
It doesn't really matter what you surgical, then you just can figure out exactly what's going to happen and win the war that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm down to cut like 2 spirits for 2 surgicals personally.
Yeah, Spirit of Labyrinth is literally just a 3-1 beater in this matchup. Doesn't really do anything.
But I don't want to cut the last one because I do want like
we do want creatures. This matchup, you do need to kill them. You can't just like sit on our hands forever. Except if you get Peacekeeper plus Prelate in play, I don't think they can actually beat that.
In which case, Prelate is naming 2.
Yeah, Peacekeeper plus Prelate on 2 for Abrupt Decay, I think, is like the hard block.
Oh, Louis is here. We got steamrolled by Red Prowess round 1, and I don't think there was really much we could have done about it.
Yeah, we could have not put cap.
Well,
oh, yeah, I mean...
I have to keep, but there's certainly a danger that we get killed fast, right?
Yeah, I'm not mulliganing this hand, but...
I think it's the... Sometimes he loses with this hand, but you're definitely supposed to keep it, right?
Yep, there are a lot of those hands with Death and Taxes. It's like, well, I can't beat everything, but like, this hand beats a certain subset of depth straws, and it has like some really powerful tools.
It reminds me of Jund in that a lot of games with Jund, you'd be cold to exactly one thing, but you could beat everything else, especially if they mulliganed, because like, you know, Thoughtseizing mulliganed opponent was so powerful, but there were games where you would keep like a fine hand and just be dead by like turn 4 because your cards didn't line up right.
Yep.
Peacekeeper in 60? Possibly reasonable.
Yeah, it's a little less powerful in 60. I think an actual a play pattern that comes up more often than I would have expected is getting to... Sorry, I'm trying to watch this game and also just say my point at the same time. You want to get to the soft lock stages versus stuff like GAC and Elves, where you like put the initial hate piece in front of them and they have to deal with that first. And then you get to like Recruiter for Peacekeeper, and then eventually put Yorion in your hand and Yorion your Recruiter to go get Prelate, and that will like eventually solidify the hard lock for both those decks. So and you don't get to do that obviously with 60 card, but
they scrying for Urborg, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, Pedal scrying for Urborg is...
It means they have Hex Mage, probably.
Yeah, they need black mana and like discard spells, maybe. Well, this is great.
Well, now I'm just going to put the port in play.
Yes, we're absolutely just going to port them.
I'm definitely porting the stage.
Yep. Want to minimize our chances of dying. Yeah, this port also made this hand a lot better. Our hand is like viable plus 3 drops.
Believe me, I know my way around these mirrors. Generally with stage on my side too, which actually makes it a lot more complicated, believe it or not.
Yes, because you just never want to put depths in play.
Oh yeah, in all those mirrors, I like, especially for lands is allowed to side out 3 depths. Turbo depths really isn't, which is one of the huge strengths of the matchup. So if we get to the next turn, I think I should just slam this probably, right?
Depends on if there's a threat of them making... If there's like any chance they can put a Mirror Lake into play, then it's probably correct. If there's a chance they don't, then I'd maybe think about it. But getting in play also means that it doesn't get thought seized. But we also, if we put it in play, it means we do just have to sit there until...
Well, so the good thing about that is I think we actually have enough lands to be able to pay for it for a while. And also we have a bunch of 3-drops, which we want to buy time for with the Aether Vial. So I think it might actually be correct to slam it no matter what next turn. Okay, well, I think now I really want to do it because you could hypothetically die to rotation.
Yeah, rotation plus Spirit Guide makes it 20/20 this turn. Yeah, I'd be a fan.
So I'm just going to play this. Honestly, this card is like kind of messed up to have ever been printed. It doesn't make sense.
You're not raw.
I've won a lot of games with Peacekeeper and like old countertop decks because it was actually super, super good with counterbalanced top.
Yeah, I suppose it's pretty hard to get off the table. With 3 Flicker Wisps, we might be reaching a point where we can like flicker our own Peacekeeper on their end step and attack them down.
Yo, what's up, Carrie?
If they had Decay Mana, I'd rather... Yeah, if they had Decay Mana, there's an argument for not. Although, I'd rather put in a thing that they want to decay, too.
Oh, okay, so you could waste us.
Yeah.
But that means I'm just going to tap the port to pay for the Peacekeeper.
Yep, that's fine.
Oh my god, I have to select white or black.
Yeah,
Urborg is super miserable on MTGO.
I do hate Urborg. I'm right there with you.
So this should probably name human, I think, given our deck construction.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter at this point that much. We could name Elemental just given that we have 3 Flicker Wisps in our hand, but yeah, with 2 basic planes, it really doesn't.
I actually don't want to do that because it might cause them to think about it.
Oh, that's
as
fair.
Weird as that sounds.
I almost want to gain 3 life with this Charming Prince.
I was thinking just cast it for Scry too. Like, lands are kind of good.
We do have like a lot of ways to beat
Oh,
him.
wait, gain 3 is actually super annoying for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really hard for them to beat.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
And I think we do have the inevitability locked down pretty well here.
I mean, if this Vial doesn't get killed, I think, given our current setup, it's really hard for them to win. Yeah. 23, I think, actually makes it really, really, really hard.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. No, game 3 is basically a time walk in this matchup.
Yep. I think I might be wisping this Peacekeeper and attacking for 5 on this end step here. We have 2 more Flicker Wisps in our hand.
I know, we're Flicker flooded.
And we're at 23. Like, yeah, I think I'm just beaten down with Flicker Wisps over the next couple turns if they don't make a move.
That's really good too. Like,
more stuff, all right.
Yep, just send in the clowns.
Yeah, we just have a bunch of ways held up to beat them, and they need to make a lot of moves here.
Add Yorion this turn?
Yeah, I could buy that. Putting Yorion probably better than like our port's not really doing a whole lot here.
Okay, well now that I think about it, I actually do regret it. But now that I've made the mistake, I'm supposed to port them. I think.
I mean, yeah, we can't not put Yorion. We can't put Yorion in our hand now. So. There's
You know
nothing else.
what? I'll just do this and force them. Like, they might get scared and do something irrational. I guess Yorion's like another layer of protection because if you cast it, then they have to get. No, it's actually basically the same, right?
Yorion's a way to get the final potentially get the final points of damage across if we like just flicker out the Peacekeeper and attack a bunch. But I think we should get there with like just these two.
Well,
lists.
no, I don't think that actually changes the clock, right?
It depends
Because
on like interaction that they could potentially have. But we're hypothetically attacking for like 8 and then 11, right?
well, yeah, but they're at 15, so attacking for 8 twice is wow. Are they gonna do it?
There's no way this is correct, right?
Well, especially since it's their turn, right?
Yeah, this thing needs to.
Oh, they're copying their wasteland. Okay, sure.
Yeah, all right.
Porting is good for some random. Right doesn't even beat us though.
I mean, it gains them 20, right? Which is buys them a decent chunk of time, I guess. But yeah, now they're just like tap super low again. We're just gonna punch them for 8, and we still have Wisp plus Plow up.
Yup. Nope. Ooh, that's probably pretty good too.
Yeah.
What do I want to get with this? Wait, so you said Prowd 2 is the hard lock, right?
Yeah, probably on two plus Peacekeeper
Okay.
is the hard lock.
Cool. It seems like I should probably do that then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
It's not very exciting, but it's like very easy.
Do we want to deck them? We are also winning with combat damage.
Yeah, no, I'm just that I'm a fan of strategic checkmate.
Yes, I mean, if we can put 100% to win into play, then why not do it? Even if it's not as fun as attacking them.
No, we still have lethal next turn. We just flicker out the
yeah.
Peacekeeper
We still
on our
can
turn.
lethal them potentially as well. Yeah. Although we have to. Do we have lethal through a Merit blocking still? I think so.
Yeah, we have like 1,000 attackers. They block one of these. They take 1, 2, 3,
8,
6, 7, 8. Yeah.
So like barely lethal.
I mean, yes.
Bonus is GG's. Okay, they saw the writing on the wall.
I mean, this is a hard matchup for them, and I think they mulliganed a bunch.
Yeah.
I'm trying to type GG's back, but there's MG. Oh, lag.
Yeah.
Damn, we finished that match too fast, too. Oh, no.
They should have played it out, so we had to deck that. I've played against Hogak players who get really mad when you Peacekeeper or Prelate onto them, and they just wait. You just have to click through like 30 turns.
Well, it shouldn't be like... I mean, eventually you'll kill them with an overwhelming board, right?
Yeah. You have to like get like a bunch of stuff in play. It's just really obnoxious. And then like it's easier with because with Yorion you can eventually do it infinitely.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You can like Yorion out just your Peacekeeper, attack with flyers. Peacekeeper comes back in, Crocus your Yorion back to hand. It just takes forever.
All right. Well, there's other nonsense we can talk about.
There's always other nonsense to talk about.
I'm trying to remember what nonsense. Oh, yeah. Now I can go on my rant about Mulan, which I think I started in one of our chats yesterday.
Yes.
Okay. So Mulan actually is like a traditionally Chinese legend. My parents told me the story when I was a kid. Like in, because my dad reads a lot of books, like fiction and whatever. So it is like an actual legend that we don't know if it actually occurred or not. I think most people believe it did happen. But all right, so the Disney live action remake decided to record the original in English, then dub it in Mandarin. I'm just like, what the heck? Why did you do this? I can understand it for like an animated film. That actually makes more sense to me, And I don't know, it drives me nuts. Should it drive me nuts?
I think it's a pretty reasonable thing to be peeved about. I know a lot of people are really mad about like actual like Chinese representation and stuff in a lot of the facets of that movie.
Well, the actors were all fine, I think. It was just a superhero movie? Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's valid.
So the reason I actually suspected it, like 5 minutes in, I'm like, wait, isn't that Donnie Yen? Yeah, or Yen? I forget his name currently. But I also know that he doesn't speak Mandarin in many movies, if any. I think he might not even really speak it. And then I was like, wait, the lips don't look right. Like the movements of the lips don't look right. So it actually did drive me nuts. I'm like, okay, after this, I finished watching this, I have to go look it up. And it just turns out it was just recorded in English at the beginning. And I'm just like, why did they do that? Oh, Luke has a good point. There was no character development and she's just a badass the entire movie. That is also a problem with the movie, yes.
Yeah, there were a lot of problems.
I don't know. I wish they had done it better, but at least I waited until December so it was actually free on my Disney Plus, which I already have because I wanted to watch The Mandalorian, which I think is a much better thing to watch than this thing.
Aishanaz made me watch it less than legally.
Oh, Mulan?
Yeah, because she wanted to watch it, but we obviously weren't going to pay. It looked like a huge paywall at first, didn't it?
It was... My parents are like, how much does it cost to watch it if we wanted to watch it? And I told them, and they're like, okay, we'll wait a month.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, with COVID, a month, like, I mean, yeah, it's a month, but there's so many other things you can watch on your TV at home too, right?
Yeah. It also just, like, wasn't going to be nearly good enough to pay for that.
No. You already knew that reading what people said about it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. It drove me nuts, and I mean, we got a Fine Gersh resub, 36 months. I thought this XJCloud person was canceled. P.S. Happy 3 years, Jarvo. Okay. Fine Gersh is joking. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a meme at this point.
It is a meme. Oh, we got the better half in your relationship here as well.
Aisha 9.
Or
maybe I guess I should sub. I think I have my Prime sub. Yes, subscribe free here. Take my subscription service.
Yeah, and maybe we'll pick up 2 more wins too. Wow. Your better half likes me more than you.
I don't even stream anymore.
Oh, you know what we can do? We can start a gamble on the next match. The prediction command is still here. So, have you seen this Twitch feature?
It's with the points, right? You can
you can gamble your points essentially.
Yes,
it's the most degenerate thing, and it's just like so. So prediction is up. Will we win the next match? Yes or no? And I don't really care which way you gamble because the house doesn't collect anything. It's literally just there for you all in Twitch chat to exchange channel points with each other.
Yes, the feature is nonsense, and I love it because channel points have been kind of silly for forever. Just something to do.
Well, I know some people are trying to save up 200,000 channel points in this channel to make me open literally all of my chests.
Yeah, I'm saving up all of my channel points in Honorog stream for obvious reasons.
For whose stream?
Honorog.
Oh, how close are you?
Not close at all. I don't want.
Someone already did that, which is the funniest part.
It's been redeemed twice. He had to bump it up to like 500k instead of 250k.
Oh, because he was sick of playing the deck, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't mind. Like, if someone was like, "Let's play D&T today," I'm like, I would be like, "Oh, do you have a good list, or do you like it, or what do you like about it?" I wouldn't be like, "No," like on Honorog is, Anox23, I'm going all in on yes. I have faith. Love to hear it.
I went halfway in on yes.
Yeah, I demodded Lackey because he loves gambling. he requested it. Which, I can respect that. Oh, I am technically out of VIPs, but I can probably just shift some mods around at some point, When Chalice predicted yes, Lackey predicted yes, Pinguster predicted yes. 83% of people predicted yes. Oh, we're playing against Aussie. Well, Aussie was in the chat. All right. I guess this is what I signed up for, huh?
This is Snapkeep. We have Aether Vial, the best card in the deck. Everyone complains that we never draw this because we put 20 more cards in our deck.
And our opponent's mulliganing, but they have knowledge and we don't. We're unfavored.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I think Vuk tends to play fair decks, so this is less scary. Yeah,
nice.
like
all right. Yeah,
your most loved card.
Yeah, pitch when it gets pitched to Forcible, very happy.
So there's actually a few ways you could play this. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to use Cavern to force through Mother of Runes. I think I'm going to play the first Mother first and see what happens.
I guess that's fair, but very likely I'm just going to cast both these mons off planes. If he wants to go down to 2 cards to force the second one, like go for it. I'd rather get the second mon force and then the first mon plowed and resolve a sort of feast and famine.
Yo, we got a raid from Doomwake, 156 people. That is sweet. Thank you, my friend.
All right, now we draw Spirit of the Labyrinth.
Come on, Spirit of the Labyrinth! Ugh. I really want to waste them, but the problem is they're so likely to find a land off the Sylvan that...
Yeah, I hate wastelanding in the face of Sylvan Library. I kind of want to cast Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yeah,
here.
that was the other option.
Punishes them for tapping out.
What I think I'm actually going to do is play Wasteland, play Sword.
Yeah, that's what
because
I
want to have the option of playing Cavern on a different type next turn as well.
Yeah, we want to potentially put this Cavern on a spell that we really want to resolve if we draw Spirit of the Labyrinth or
Skyclave. I think I'm not allowed to attack then if I'm doing this as well.
Yeah, we're never attacking her.
I probably would if I didn't have anything good to do, actually.
I don't know. Like, what's the... I guess we just want to like chip out their life total with a Sylvan in play, so maybe.
Yeah. They have to have another land by this point, right?
Or they took 8 so they could draw another land.
Well, they only took 4, right? Oh no, they did take 8 actually.
I was playing a noble version. Interesting. Second Mom here is pretty neat. It helps us actually connect to the sort of Feast and Famine now.
Do you want to play Sword or equip Sword? Huh. Actually, hold on. Let's think about it all the way through before we do anything, right? So I could Cavern name Spirit, equip here, play Mother of Runes Waste, and say go. Is that better than Caverning Human and making sure this resolves?
Again, I don't care a lot if the Mother of Runes doesn't resolve. They forcible it. I'd probably like equip an attack too, unless the last card is plow. We get super punished.
All right.
Like, I don't really care about like forcing through these medium spells that they're just like never gonna get countered.
All right. Now that they didn't force it, should we just wait, equip, and wait?
Yeah, I'm a little bit keen on getting this GT into play, honestly, so we can like ping off this Hierarch, like double equip attack next turn with backup Mom.
Oh, so you don't want to waste then?
Yeah, I'm not like they just played a Noble Hierarch and have a Sylvan Library in play, right? Like,
okay, sure, I see it.
I'm not a big fan of like getting the trying to leverage mana advantage or anything here.
I think I should play this, but I don't know what to name. I think it's Core. What?
Maybe probably Spirit. We have 2 equipment in place, so like Stoneforge matters less than if we draw Spirit of the Labyrinth to turn off this library or Skyclave. Other option is like name Human anyway. Equip Sword in case of Engineer. Maybe. I guess that is the same amount of mana, right? We could equip now and cast it and equip GT next turn. Yeah, that's valid. Yeah, equip the Sword instead. It's either Spirit or Bird. Yeah, we could put it on. I mean, Yorion's not exactly enticing yet. It's 4 mana, 4/5 right now.
I think it was a really complicated turn, and people don't respect how hard that turn was.
Yeah. The deceptive thing about Death and Taxes is, unlike all of the cantrip decks where you're just taking like 10 micro decisions in a single turn, you just have like one or two like very important and impactful decisions.
Uh, Wait, actually, that's. Oh no, they'll bounce the sword.
This bounces the sword, but we could potentially GTA down this noble now
Yeah.
if we wanted, or draw land and just connect with sword.
That is kind of annoying, though. I wish I could pro it.
Yeah,
That'd be so good.
unfortunate.
Actually, this makes the not wastelanding play look a little bit better, although it looks like they're going to miss their land drop, so I don't know.
We'll just draw land, it'll be fine. Oh, it's not land.
Well, I'm going to play GT now, I think.
Yeah.
No matter what we did, we were getting forced that turn, though, so.
Yeah, this is our worst spell to get forced, so I'm pretty happy here.
So I could sneak through and kill the Teferi. Do I want to do that? Or I could just attack the Teferi.
I think I'll just attack the Teferi.
Yeah. I think it's okay to leave one shield down.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to sit there forever, like, making it really annoying for us to play against it, you know?
Yeah, this game's going to take long enough where even though they're at like 7, they could be at 6 here. Like, this game could very easily, this Teferi could downtick again on one of our equipment.
Exactly, and that would be super annoying. Now, Vuk smartly knows that as long as he's at 1 or higher life total, it doesn't actually matter. Which is, well, this is not great. I guess a land is still a good draw, though.
Land could just kill here, potentially. Sort of Fire and Ice. Land does kill here now if he doesn't have another force. I guess he could have a land drop. No, he can't have a land drop. Yeah. Land. Yes.
Does it matter?
Just name Bird at this point, I think, to resolve our Yorion. We just cast a Sword of Fire and Ice, and if it resolves, we win the game. Name equipment.
I would love to name equipment.
No.
Okay, the good thing is we can stop the GTA from connecting with us, but the bad news is they can just Uro instead, right?
Yes.
But I think I have to just sit.
Yeah, definitely. We still sort of Feast of Famine, so we're getting...
It's not great versus Uro.
It's better than being attacked for 6.
We do have a Cavern on Spirit, so Skyclave is a good draw.
Yeah. We have been triple Force of Willed.
It's kind of funny because I was like okay with all of those, and then now I'm suddenly not okay with the third one.
Yeah, I mean the third one was definitely the one that was lethal was the only unfortunate one. The other two were. I mean, I guess the one on Aether Vial was also unfortunate, but you know.
What do you make of them not Uroing?
Kind of horrifying.
Well, it means something. I'm trying to figure out what it means. You know. All right. Yeah. I think I should just play this sword.
Yep, we're just jamming here. It's just hardcast another force of something. All right, put Yorion in your hand.
Yep. Not the best Yorion, but I guess it is uncounterable, so.
Uncounterable 4/5 flyer. Unfortunately, our opponent is going to gain some life, as it turns out.
Yeah, that was the GTA we had accounted for, and they can shuffle if their top cards are bad. I guess they weren't bad enough. Yeah, but I mean, I think casting our thing is clearly correct. Like, we're casting our 3-drop every turn there and hoping that they run out. Because if they ever fail at the check, we would actually be in fine shape. There was that one turn where it was literally lethal, too. So.
Yeah.
Can we draw a good one?
What is a good one here? I guess
Skyclave probably. I mean, I think Skyclave by this point would be a good one because of how this game's shaping up, right?
Yeah, definitely. They're definitely running out of gas. And if we can answer this Uro.
So actually, Recruiter would also be a good one for that reason.
Yeah.
So Recruiter or Skyclave are our best draws. Plow is fine.
Fine is relative because it fuels them back up on the Sylvan a little bit. Path would honestly be better. Oh, jeez. That was certainly a draw step. Our Recruiter is not uncounterable. Our other caverns on Bird for this Yorion.
So I think I have a multi-stage plan, if that sounds weird. Oh, wait, that doesn't even really work, does it?
Yes. Was your multi-stage plan hit right-click and then hit concede?
No, my multi-stage plan was to play Yorion, then play Barraskull, then equip Barraskull to Yorion. Then I realized that would take way too long.
Yeah, and also...
But I think my actual plan is to cast this.
Yeah.
I should not tap like that. That is like the worst way to tap. Is this also a Spirit? No, it's a Serpent. Okay.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have put the other cavern on Bird.
Oh, sure. That makes sense. A Recruiter would not be uncounterable, but they were also Hellbent that turn, right?
Yeah. Because they drew into the Oko with their Uro.
Doesn't Yorion also eat a Oko activation?
They could just ignore the Yorion, right? They could attack.
My plan is to block. I don't know about you. Get loud for XJCloud. Thank you, Chubby Rain. How do you feel about the X being dropped off in that post?
XJCloud. I mean, that's fine. My original name was XJCloud. I put an X on it at some point because XJCloud was taken on some random account that I made one day. And then the X is there forever.
Are we literally out of equipment? Well, that's so insane.
Oh, yes. We actually drew all 4 of our equipment and 0 stone fortune.
Oh, that's really bad, actually, I think.
I mean, maybe you're more optimistic, but I think this game is so kind of over.
Yeah, probably. This is the way. So, if I were really not scared, I could just triple block, and then whichever two they first...
It's alted, so it doesn't. We can't kill it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. That's off the table. I'll just block with Yorion and give it pro blue.
Yeah.
I don't know what I can draw. Oh, a Ballista's still lethal. No, it's not. They have food. Never mind.
If they elk their food token, and we draw Ballista and they don't have force, then that's lethal.
They smartly made another food because if the game goes long, they win almost every time here. All right. I guess I'll pack it in. I'm so dead now, right?
Yeah, I'm ready to concede. Don't think his deck even has black.
No, I think it has red instead.
Just has sideboard rebs and like maybe some Staticaster or some stupid shit like the Miracles deck does.
We tried pretty hard that game. It just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean we just got like Force Will 3 times and turn 2 library, right? That's just how the cookie crumbles.
This is probably not great. What else is not great? Do you like GTA in these matchups?
Yeah, it's good enough, especially in like the 80 card lists. And with Yorion, you just always want to have fuel for Stone Forges. What I've been looking at here, I haven't played against blade versions of this deck, so sideboarding might get a little messier.
Well, we don't have that many good cards to side in, so that's the easy part. Like, these are a no-go, that's not, and I think Canis sucks, so I'm cutting it. So we just need to cut one more card.
They're on Hierarchy. GT can only be so. Yeah, they have more creatures, I guess. What would I cut here? Usually, in like traditional Snow, I'd cut 1 toughness things. I'd probably end up cutting a Thalia here anyway. Still against Hierarchs, just makes it even worse. I usually trim a Hierarch against like normal Snow and against Snow with Noble Hierarch in it.
It makes even more sense, yeah, actually.
They have Green Sun's in from their deck.
So I have the inside track. I do not believe Vuk is playing Green Sun Zenith.
Okay.
But also, like, if you think about it, structurally speaking, if you're Snow and you have Uro and you have Library and you have Stoneforge package, there's not a lot of space, right?
I don't know. People do some wild shit. I mean, you're right, but that's never stopped anyone before.
So, do you keep?
It's a good question. I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean,
I'm more inclined to keep this because we're on the play and our opponent does not have abrupt decays in their deck too. They probably have some sideboard wilts or whatever.
okay. Crisis averted for now. Because you never know. Like, this is actually super scary, and I wish this was a plow right now.
Yes. I was thinking about the path actually being relevant. Okay, just drew the second land like a good Magic player. I was thinking about the path actually just being bad rampant growth at some point in this game if we're like choked on lands, which is why I was kind of interested.
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that a lot of the time, but so which do you get?
I'm inclined to say Feast and Famine. Actually, I kind of want to. Maybe I want to get Batterskull here to force a removal spell. The card I'm most scared of right here is just turn 2 Oko.
Okay, I see. And if we get Batterskull, they might be forced to do it.
Yeah, it just forces action on their part rather than like actually having equipment that matters. I just want it to like make their turns more suboptimal.
I see. You wanted. There's a chess term for that where you make a play and that forces them to make a play. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, we were talking about against like the mono red deck. It's like sometimes you just don't get Batterskull because you know your Stoneforge is going to die. But on the other side of that coin, sometimes you get Batterskull explicitly so that they have to kill your Stoneforge.
Well, they didn't do it. A land would be really good here, I think.
It's not a land. Batterskull makes this a little bit better. They probably won't be able to just elk our Aether Vial this turn. So we can probably just let them have this Oko for a little bit longer and just Skyclave this Oko next turn.
Yeah, I really wish I'd drawn another land.
Oh, okay.
Oh
where
my
they
god.
are.
So that means this is bad for us.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
All right.
Can't even like.
I can't really play around anything, really.
Yeah, I'm not. Like, almost want to path as rampant growth, but they'd probably just like counter that, right, with their own removal spell, and that wouldn't end up well. I think I just want to try board pressure this Oko off the board now. Yeah. This just means that there's a Coatl on the other hand.
Could mean a bunch of things.
Oh, nice.
So I think I want to send. Should I just send all at Oko and see what they do?
So what happens if they flash an Ice Fang Coatl?
Well, then they block this, and it takes 4. Then I can play Skyclave and clear it anyways. But should I just play Skyclave first and see if it resolves, then just attack them?
It's kind of what I was thinking about. It does mean that they could potentially remove the Skyclave and make it 3/3 that blocks the Aether Vial. I don't know how relevant that even is, though.
Right. I think I'm going to cast Skyclave first and see what happens. Because that's a lot of damage to give up if they don't have anything, really.
Yeah, we do want to kill them.
And I do want to get rid of that. I mean, also another play we could make is to just attack with just the Germ token, actually.
I don't know. I think I would probably just send with the Vial here, too. The Elk. It's not a huge amount of downside. The Skyclave's probably leaving the board at some point. If they want to trade the 3/3 for it, then that's fine.
Yep.
We still have a creature on the board after that and have like flickers for this Batterskull to reset it. And if they just have this Coatl here, then it's just like 3 free damage.
No free damage. Sag.
Well, we gotta get through these guys eventually.
So I think the outcome would have been the same no matter what. If we attacked Oko with both, they'd probably just flash in both, block both, then we played the Skyclave.
Yep.
But actually, by us casting it first, if they drew into a force off one of those collaterals, it was actually slightly better for us.
That's true. They probably should have cast the Quaddles in response. Like
They should have cast
forgetting us there.
one. I think they should have cast one in response.
Yeah, at least one.
Um,
They don't have enough mana to GTS right
Nope.
now, right?
They are short 1 mana.
Yeah, they played the Flooded Strand here. Okay.
Kind of sucks that we're limited to doing one thing per turn. It's like really inefficient.
I think we're just gonna say go here. Hold up path plus sword. Or path plus put in sword.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Lets us do two things, kind of. Prevents the GTA hit here. Put us in the sword. We could potentially get a trigger, or just like flicker with the Skyclave to answer the GTA. This gets the Ice Fang out of here too, which is nice.
Yep. I mean, if they have a force, so be it. That's like really bad for us, period, but I can't do anything about it.
Yeah. The confidence at which
they... Yeah, I mean... This is fine? It's not really fine, actually. Yeah, I know. We could have done that, but I don't think that's like a very scared line, I think, is the issue with that.
Not to lose. Okay, what's the play here?
So the only way I can connect for sure is to equip to that. But they can also double ping that, right? Man, this has gotten really complicated again.
Yeah. I mean, they can always just chump block the Vial with the Noble. Or if they chump Vial, we're just pretty boned here, but
I don't think they're going to do that. All right. I've decided what I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to equip and see what they do.
Yeah.
Because if they use... Like, the block with the token on that... It makes a blue token, right?
Yeah, they can't block.
Yeah.
3/3, so they would have to have Plow or chump block with Hierarch here.
I can attack with this one, too. No, I can't. Okay, yeah. Only this one, then.
Just Plow.
I think we just could never win this game, really, is the actual answer.
Yeah. The addition of GTA makes this a lot less appealing, certainly.
Could have attacked with Apparition. I could have.
I think Apparition was kind of free here.
Yeah.
Because if they kill it, then obviously it can't be eaten by the 3/3.
So what do we do now? Maybe I just equip this to this and say go and hope.
They want to kill your Skyclave, though.
So should I equip this to this?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So uninteresting to do that, too. Yeah, that's what I figured.
Well, so this is actually free for them to do, I think, right? Because they'll just have...
We're tapped out. They're guaranteed to get another connection and leave us with no creatures.
I feel like this is actually a pretty good matchup for them, unfortunately. Like, the addition of the Blade package, I think, makes it so much harder as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, D&T famously horrible against the Guardian Gonzalez GTA, right?
Yep. None of my options are good. Top deck Apparition, would that even be good enough?
I mean, definitely be a start answering this GTA. So
I could Recruiter for Apparition, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Unfortunately, it just means like our entire board gets wrathed.
Yeah, but it's... I mean, maybe they just run out of stuff to do, right?
Yeah, kind of gotta hope. I think we probably have to put this Cleric in play too. I'm not 100% on that.
Wait, do we?
Well, I guess they just ping the Cleric, attack us, and they have exactly enough things to wrath our board. So actually, no, we don't want to play it.
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't that not do anything except just get more creatures killed
I was thinking about them having like pinging the apparition, but they never want to ping apparition because then they don't get their 2/2. They're just going aggro. Makes sense.
Well, it's safe, right? This is like literally makes it safe for them to do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane. Yeah. They have a lot of broken 3-drops in their deck. Actually, I would argue the issue this game was actually this card.
I mean, yeah, definitely. We like it's an interesting just an interesting thought process of like maybe this is better position than normal Snoko in like this matchup specifically. I'd probably chump block here because they're just gonna ping your
no, but okay, here's the counterpoint. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Never mind.
All right.
I was thinking through something, and then I realized it didn't make any sense. So, ours is much worse for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, they have a lot more creatures in play, as it turns out.
All right.
The reason to not jump is you have something to wisp, but no, we don't have something to wisp because we have to play this apparition this turn, and that means they would just, in response, ping the recruiter.
Yep. And now I play my 2/1.
They don't even care about their own 2/2. They just want to put as much pressure on the board as possible, which does make sense. We're at 24. Are we supposed to just kill their Uro in their yard?
Probably, yeah. Right? Like, isn't that just a disaster?
Yeah. We're at 24. Next turn we have like Flicker Wisp the Skull, and then they have like Teferi and Bounce our Skull, and then everything's bad.
Yeah, I mean, things are bad, but can't do much about it.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, I guess I don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
That's also super... This is so good for us too. Oh my god. Yeah, this overall sucks. Well, that's not the worst, actually.
I think we're probably just wisping the illusion here.
Okay.
And then casting Jite.
Sad that it just gets grudged, but
we need somebody to get grudged. I think the sword's better.
Yeah, I think so.
And also the sword just doesn't fit into this turn for obvious reasons.
I was kind of terrified that they would just hardcast Force right there, because I think that would be pretty bad for us.
Yes.
But obviously they don't have to care about this one. All of our stuff is dead.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, that's actually kind of nice for them, unfortunately.
They're Stoneforge.
I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, then now we have Skyclave for the new equipment. They do get a connection out of it.
You know, they're like a D&T deck with Mana Acceleration and broken 2020 cards. Can I get a refund?
Yeah.
I'm joking, obviously, but it does sort of feel that way, you know? I assume I have to go after the sword.
Yeah, definitely just eating the sword here. So anyway, the interesting like half thought that I had earlier was like the draw to this over like normal Snoko in this specific matchup is that instead of Skyclave is obviously still a really good card in this matchup, but you're kind of just overloading the cards that it has to hit because now instead of just hitting Oko and Uro, we're also pressured into hitting all these equipment. It's like we had to Skyclave the Oko and then immediately they turned around and hit Jite and then immediately had Uro after that and stuff. So they're just too many targets. Feels like they have 5 cards in hand. So I wouldn't say stabilized, but it feels like we're not dead.
What would your plan be here?
So I am deeply concerned that they didn't bounce their Mystic and replay it. Because,
they bounced their Coatl.
Yeah. But why would you want to bounce Coatl when you could draw a Battle Skull?
Because they might only have 2 equipment in their deck?
They might not have Battle Skull.
Yeah.
I agree with Luanel. I think I just want to sort of feast and famine here, I think.
All right. Guess I can leave out my wasteland.
I mean, we could, if the sword actually connects, we can report them for free.
Yeah. Guess we'll see what happens.
Probably wouldn't be relevant. This thing's probably dying. Yep.
Who could have seen that coming? So I think I just equip now.
Yeah, no reason not to. We're literally not doing anything else with the mana. We're not going to wasteland them.
Oh yeah, I guess leaving like the port up makes more sense, but
yeah, neither is particularly relevant when your opponent hits their 9th land drop or whatever.
I feel like we're gonna lose. Yeah. Probably just elk this. Oh wait, is this winning?
Do they know we have this Fire and Ice in hand? I forget. I think they do. I think they bounced it. I think we're just gonna like be dead. We can attack them, attack them, put Yorion in our hand, trigger, untap, kill the Coatl, Yorion, the Stoneforge doesn't even do anything.
I don't think we actually have enough mana for all of this.
I mean, we do if we get the Sword of Feast of Famine trigger.
Oh, I see.
If we don't get the Sword of Feast of Famine trigger, we're obviously just dead. So, oh no, we don't have enough mana to put Yorion in our hands. We gotta equip the Sword of Fire hands too.
Right. That's what I was saying. I think we're one short of that, right? Because it's 3 to play that, 3 to put your in hand. Assume this connects. We'll have 6 more. Then it's 2 plus. That would be 7.
Yeah, I think we're just dead.
Well,
the
what
most game
happens if I play, equip, attack them, shoot the Coatl, and hope to draw a plow?
Then we're still dead?
No, because they would
no, we're
make
the
that...
7. No, wait. And we plow a 3/3.
Oh no, we would still be dead. No, we would be at 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's actually the correct play. It's super risky, but I think we're not going to win without taking risks.
Yeah, we could also potentially top deck like Recruiter or some 3-drop, like Skyclave, even maybe Skyclave the Elk. Assuming we untap our lands here.
I mean, I'm assuming that we're going to get to untap our lands because we never win if we don't.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, I hate everything. Wait.
We can still draw the plow line now.
Right. Okay. Why did they do that with the equip on the stack?
You just want to plow yourself.
Oh, okay. We were never winning. That was just way too much, right?
Jesus, yeah. Ozzy really came prepared to beat the fair deck spaces then, geez.
It's kind of funny because I don't think you can even blame cantrips for that game because he did not cast a single cantrip.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane. I mean, like...
Didn't cast a cantrip in either of those 2 games.
No, I think he cast Sylvan Library, which counts as like 5 cantrips, right?
Okay, I guess that is fair. If Sylvan Library qualifies, then yeah, Sylvan Library is just gonna
All right. We were the last match, so we don't have much downtime, but I don't know. That felt really bad. And
yeah, I mean that's the thing is that it's like very teched out. I mean, this same argument we made for our deck, right? How do we beat Doomsday? It just there is just like a fair deck arms race, but like Stoneforge is the cantrip.
Okay, well, so those are cantrips, but what I actually meant was like card selection spells because like randomly drawing a card at almost any point in any deck is most likely to be a land, right?
Alignment, yeah, cantrip alignment chart.
Beat Doomsday because only 5 people play Doomsday. I see. All right, choose outcome. I did not win, but you know, we'll make another prediction for the last match where people can gamble yet again.
All right, I'm going all in.
You can go on. I was about to say you couldn't, but then I realized you could because you're not a mod.
All right, putting in all my channel points. Oh, I missed 61 channel points, whatever.
So Ozzy did beat the prowess player that beat us. Oh, also we got paired up. Huh.
Oh, wow.
Sucks, but, you know, is what it is.
Yeah.
Prowess players 1-2 now.
At least we can't play against them again.
What if Moto just bugs out and repairs us? I would demand a refund. That's what I would actually do.
Yeah.
Get a prediction on getting paired with Curse Stompy? Is someone even playing Curse Stompy in this event?
One of these people a Curse Stompy player?
I hope not. Is
Yeah,
Rock Nation a Snow person?
It's very bad. I have no idea. I'm terrible with recognizing.
This is not supposed to happen that often.
Yeah, this is unlikely to say the least.
Do you still keep?
There's no way you keep this. I'm saying there's 2 Lotus spells in it.
What if you knew that they were snow?
Is turn 2 Spirit, turn 3 Lotus Petal myself, Prelate good enough? I think I'd rather have just like any 6 that can cast a curve. You keep this for snow? You're mad.
I don't think it's actually that mad.
We're on the draw too. Like, ugh. Can I change my prediction?
All right. I've actually decided I'm going to mulligan, but I actually believe it's closer than it might look. All right. I guess this is technically better. I'm going to just ship a plow. I actually do believe there's snow.
Yeah, definitely ship. I'd probably ship a plow in the blind too.
We can take 2 draw starts at 4th card. Wow. I'm not sure if Louis actually wants us to win.
He probably bet on us to lose.
No, he bet on us to win.
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah. I guess you.
But then I'm confused because these are at odds, different statements. Am I supposed to just cavern human?
I'd probably just cast a mom. I just don't really care about these mother runes resolving ever. I've almost never been upset when Snow Force of Wills my mother of runes. It's like there are much more key spells you'd rather draw and resolve. Like we draw a turn 2 Spirit of the Labyrinth or even turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, sure.
I don't really have a better plan than this, obviously.
Yeah, there's an argument for porting that turn.
Really?
Their 3 mana turn is the scariest.
Oh, I see. Okay, maybe I should have ported.
We can go into like port plus mom the following turn and stuff. Yeah, the mom.
Okay, I'm going to believe that was actually a mistake. Yeah, I guess it's kind of bad if they play Inoko this turn, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of your turn 1 through 3 decisions, Death and Taxes, are hinged around the possibility of getting Oko'd and almost nothing else.
Yeah, if they Uro, it's fine. Obviously, if they do the other thing, it's less fine.
Yeah, but even like Uro, if we just delay it for like 1 turn for almost free, then we're kind of okay with that. I guess the fact that they burned a Decay and not a Plow either means that they might not have a Plow. Could just mean that they wanted to be mana efficient, but...
Yeah. Also, I feel like our matchups have been okay, but not great.
Yeah, this is the matchup. This is the matchup that I think is also just like it's very close and like complex. I feel favored versus like the average pilot and stuff, but like it's the reason to put Yorion in your deck because I don't think this matchup is good if you don't have Yorion in your deck. You just can't keep up anymore.
I guess the real question is, what do I do this turn?
If this Mother Runes lives, I think I want to play Sword. It looks like it's dying, though.
Ooh. Oh, that's much better. Wow, so they're really soft to our creatures right now, is what I'm hearing.
I love getting Assassin's Trophy.
Yeah, so do I.
Want to hit all your line drops all the time.
But not like that.
Less exciting to keep drawing lands.
I guess spells to go with them. I feel like we should port them, actually.
Yeah, porting into like next turn, either putting Yorion in your hand or playing Sword into porting again. Or like drawing a relevant spell at some point. Yeah, that's the sad part about porting this turn is that now it's their 4-mana turn. It's kind of medium, but like putting Yori on our hand or putting Sword of Fire in play don't do anything against the Oko anyway. So
Yep.
really good at drawing Mother of Runes versus these snow decks.
So I feel like porting them doesn't do much anymore.
Yes, I would agree. I think I would put Mom and Sword into play.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm definitely just sandbagging this cavern forever until we draw Apparition or something.
So their only gas card left is Oko. Oh, I guess they had a second brainstorm the entire time. They pitched a brainstorm to Fawn.
Yeah.
So I let this resolve, then plow my Mother of Runes, right?
Yeah, because then you just get a free 3/3.
Oh no, it's not going to be. They're exchanging.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. We had a free thing, which is better than not getting a free thing. And it prevents them from making an elk next turn unless they want to astrolate.
All right, I still have to do this though. I think.
Yep.
Because the problem is, if you don't do that, then all of their other creatures can never get killed. I don't think this is how you win the snow matchup.
Yeah, you don't want to draw this many lands. Lands are good, but they're not that good. We've drawn like what, 1 spell, 2 spells maybe this game.
No, Louis, it doesn't work, right? Because if they ever untap with it, they can just protect the Mother of Runes.
We could have gone to our turn and seen if we drew.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that technically works. All right, am I supposed to just play this out?
Yes.
This is so depressing. I assume I'm supposed to actually make it uncounterable by this point.
Probably. It's an argument for holding the caverns. The only way we win this game is if we draw Apparition, but Apparition's not even like really cutting it at this point because they're also just librarying us.
So depressing. Where are my value creatures?
Where are your spells?
I feel like casting this is actually correct, personally. I feel like I'm dead again. You can't swap Yorion, and there's not enough loyalty on that.
Yeah.
But you can elk it, sure. But I mean, that's actually fine for us. That was less fine, obviously, but it was at 3 loyalty, so they couldn't exchange. And also, the Yorion has too much power for Oko to actually steal it. So Apparition's still my best draw, but they probably are loaded up on another force by this point.
Yeah, they can hardcast a force too.
Alright.
We drawn a spell. Pretty sure we kept like a 3-lander.
We're disappointing all the people who gambled yes.
Yeah, including me. Come on, Jarvis. You gotta rig the gambling.
I should rig the gambling.
We can assume that this is traditional snow, right?
Yeah, I looked at the lists for a second.
I would probably be leaving in our X2s then.
Oh, I see. So what do you want to cut?
Saving either Mother of Runes or Thalia's. Whatever floats your boat. I lean more towards Thalia lately.
You want to remove Thalia's?
Yeah.
You got them right where you want them? I'm not sure if I got them right where I want them.
Yeah, I was cutting Moms for a while. I think I kind of agree with Lunel's logic for cutting Thalia over Mom, because Mom does help the combat the board states versus like early Okos, where sometimes you do need to attack it down.
We did not have that option this game.
Yes.
None of our stuff lived, and I had more lands than anything else.
Yeah, you need to draw more than like 2 spells to do that usually.
I'm gonna look for a better 6-card hand.
It's very bad.
Uh,
His hand is very good enough.
I'm debating what to put on the bottom, but probably Sword Plowshares.
I'd maybe think about Batter Skull.
Yeah, it's definitely one of these two. I think the other 5 cards are off the table, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'll put the Batter Skull on the bottom, but it's like kind of shit all around, anyways, right?
Yeah.
Not to be negative, but honestly, I feel like my draws have been not the best.
Yeah, you've not been showcasing D&T at its most optimal, at its most efficient, I guess. Been really varianced out of a couple of these games.
Yeah, which happens, it's part of Magic.
Definitely. I've definitely had these like 1 in 4 leagues where you just don't see anything.
Okay, well, that's a real card. We drew 1 of each, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
I'm not attacking, I think.
Yeah, never attacking here. It's insane until they turn 3 Plague Engineer us. Which is why I try to.
But I mean, I literally can't do anything versus that.
We play the Caracas and trade 1 for 1 instead. They engineer, we pick up Thalia, we plow the engineer, we play the Thalia. We're never casting this Wisp this turn anyway.
Yep.
I'd probably, if we didn't have Caracas, I'd be putting like Yorion on my hand this turn, but this play is a lot better versus Plague Engineer. And if they don't have Plague Engineer, our board state is just like pretty decent.
That's a really fast fetch. I hate it.
This feels like a really easy Plague Engineer. Yeah, shocker. Like I said, Flame Tongue Kavu. They have 6 cards now. I'm probably just playing Thalia and saying go. We want to leave up the Caracas.
There's no merit for playing GTA than Thalia, right?
I mean, yeah, this is the only other line on the table, but like I don't think we can play into our opponent's 7-card hand by like tapping our Caracas. It's a fast fetch too, so it's just Oko. Yep. So plays about how I would have expected. Hey, that's a good one.
So I assume getting Skyclave, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I could also just like deal some damage to it, but I'm not even sure that's worth it.
Yeah, I'd probably attack it anyway. If they have Forceful for your Skyclave, you need some way to win this game. Which probably involves wisping the food elk and like continuing to attack it down.
Okay, so it's just insurance to deal it to. I don't think dealing them to really matters.
Yeah.
1 more week? What does that mean, Tristal? Oh, and how are you doing, buddy? It's been a while. Sometimes you get death, and sometimes you get taxed.
These cards are all fairly spooky, but they're also tapped out, which means that the Skyclave gets to guarantee resolve.
Yeah. Alright, I mean, all my plays are literally forced. It's not very interesting right here. Yeah, it's my birthday next Thursday, I guess. I'm not, like, it feels like it doesn't even really matter, if that makes sense. What's a birthday? What's your, that's not great.
My birthday was like a week after quarantine started.
And you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, I
You
guess
just pick
I put the Thalia in my hand, but it's still like it's
Yeah.
pretty brutal because they have their own Caracas now too.
Yeah, this game will go long enough where this thought could definitely be relevant at some point.
All right, you killed my recruiter of the guard.
Which is a little bit unfortunate because we have this wisp. This wisp can kill this food though, or flicker our skyclave. Or do that. We're at 13, which is not a very comfy life total.
I think I want to play Flicker Wisp and target the food and probably plow the Plague Engineer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Do we end up beating Turbo Depths? Yeah, we did. We 2-0 Turbo Depths.
My execution in the face of bad variants. I mean, that's the point. If you play enough games like this and try to play as well as you can, you will win some of the games that you're like 5% to win, you know?
Yeah. This has not been like a thrilling league by any stretch.
I mean, there were things I could have still optimized, which is the key point. Like there were a few like small technical mistakes, but I think overall the strategy was not very complicated, and we executed well there. Oh, yeah. That's kind of bad for me.
Probably end up just trading with this illusion if given the opportunity. I think we're trying to start stabilizing this board and turn the corner, which is a weird thing to say in the face of someone. Okay, never mind. In the face of someone with the Sylvan Library.
I feel like we're going to get buried now is the actual issue because we can't put any pressure on their life total.
Yeah, it depends on what they find. We have the pieces to put together a way to like try to stumble back into this game, but they are just trying to like aggro us down a little bit here. We have to plow this engineer so we can get our recruiter online. But as soon as they just like find a second Oko or Uro or something, it becomes a lot harder to win.
So it is worth noting they don't have a second green, so I'm kind of hoping that they brick off there. But I am going to plow the engineer with the draw on the stack.
Yeah. It's actually the same odds of Crocus and Plow, or close to the same odds. This is the lower odds of Wasteland is the big one.
So it's funny you say that. There's I think what actually happens is when you increase deck size, you have more outlier hands than you normally have. The modal hand actually becomes less likely, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same odds to draw the cards because your deck is just bigger, but it's similar odds.
Playing the Thalia does nothing. It just gets bounced by that, so I should probably play both of these and kind of hope it works out.
We have 4 cards in hand. Yeah, there's no way. I was just thinking about Spirit of the Labyrinth here, but there's just like no way it lives. I think we just need to get a little bit more value. We could get Stoneforge Mystic here and cast it to try to get a little bit more value going.
I'm probably going to need the value in the face of the Uro as well, right?
Oh, yeah, there is an Uro.
So maybe I have to just get Skyclave.
We have Caracas to keep Uro in check, quote unquote. Like if we're Skyclave or are we winning this game versus the board? Like they kill our Skyclave and attack us with 7 power worth of things for the turns.
So if I get Stoneforge, what am I getting with Stoneforge?
Probably Batterskull.
Where's our Batterskull? Oh, it's right there. Never mind. Okay. Yeah. I guess I'm down for that.
That's the main rationale for Yorion. I actually wrote a pretty lengthy article about Yorion that explains it better than I can summarize it right now.
Don't worry, I'll relink it for you real quick. I have it open in a tab.
There was a command. You made a command, right?
I did. I don't. The command was too long. The answer was to crush snow, and it's kind of sad. I think the snow decks are outdrawing us slightly. I would say the Stoneblade snow deck is a lot harder, though.
Yeah, definitely. That was just like structured way better to beat Death and Taxes than traditional snow.
Well,
But
they
like
also
this,
had Noble Hierarch, which is just a great card in the matchup, obviously.
yes, no wire
Oh,
traditional.
that sucks. But
Those
also
guys
seem to be likely for them to hold, but
kind of aggro unless I guess they have
I
okay
kind
way.
of wonder if it was just better for them to play Uro that turn than Dead of Winter to kill us next
They
turn.
can't play. They oh no, they have Astrolabe. Yeah, they could play Earl.
Yeah, I think they should have played the Uro that turn. Oh no, wait, we have Crocus. Never mind. Now
Yeah.
what?
Well, the second Oko is a pain.
Oh, so is to cast this?
It's an elk, but it's our most mana efficient play.
I mean,
Like
the alternative is to play both of these, but I don't think that actually does that much.
Prelate on 1 plus Jite doesn't do a lot. Can't even attack into an elk or anything. If we make our own elk, yeah, it's probably better skull. But yeah, like these are the types of games. It's hard. It's hard to like summarize the snow matchup in one match and showcase. Like Yorion clearly hasn't done anything here, right? We haven't even put it in our hand yet. But just like these are the type of games. It's just like normal Death Taxes feels like it will just never ever win this matchup sometimes because they just can completely overwhelm you with card advantage. And if you can't resolve your like Armageddon or whatever, or if you're not in a favorable board state to do so, like they have an Uro in play and you cast Cataclysm or whatever. So it just increases the subset of games that you actually have a chance of winning just via dragging yourself back in with value generation.
Maybe they just don't draw anything good for the rest of the game. Well, that's a tall
yes
order with Oko and Sylvan Library, right? It's gonna be a tough one. I think I understand. Like, Aether Vial's not very good in this matchup, actually. Like, I mean, it's good, but it's not key anymore, right?
It's not Miracles good anymore.
Yeah, I think I understand now. I understand that point after playing these games.
That's the big thing. It's just like your mana dial isn't good anymore. Like against Miracles, like Rashawn Bohr was really good. Like cutting them off of white was like a very real thing that came up a lot. Thalia was obviously extremely relevant all the time. Aether Vial was like so backbreaking for them, but now like none of those cards matter.
So yeah, kind of sad. I definitely was on the lower end, but also the round one matchup is like probably. I mean, like that's not really a deck you can hope to play against too often Legacy for a good reason. Yeah. But that matchup seemed horrible, so like.
Yeah. Our round 1 and our round 3 matchups are not decks that I have built to play against.
Boland, it was mono red prowess Phoenix with like lava darts, and I'm just like this has to be awful. Like,
yeah.
Well, if you're playing Death and Taxes, it's because people are not playing a deck like that.
Yeah, decks that have like just 20 removal spells in them are not something you want to see.
20 removal spells and a fast clock actually is the actual issue.
Yeah, 20 removal spell aggro decks.
Like if it was just 20 removal spells, I think maybe that is doable, but the rest is not really, right?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Oh, they were really weird. Okay. This person has played Garruk Primal Hunter before.
Doesn't this cast creatures?
Yeah, but it also makes 3/3s.
Okay, it is just a Garruk Primal Hunter
replacement. I think Garruk Primal Hunter might be better, except this one's easier to cast.
Yeah, this one's just not triple green, but is worse in almost every other way. I guess looking at the top card deck combos with casting cantrips and fetch lands.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Also, it does make slightly better tokens because it puts those ability counters on. We can kill this Uro. The problem is that our opponent has put 2 planeswalkers into play, and
there's a lot of issues. I think they're not even bothering with the Uro because they're like, yeah, we'll just waste time Caracasing it.
Yeah, we'll be Zergling versus Caracas.
I said that Yorion's not very good versus their Caracas, which is kind of sad as well.
I don't think this is that bad of a matchup. I mean, this is what Yorion's literally for, is to make this matchup a lot better. Game 1 was like pretty unfortunate. Game 2 was a lot. A lot of games that takes place, you look like you're dead for a long time, and then suddenly you aren't. So like this game was a lot closer at a lot of different points than it maybe felt, because our opponent had an Oko in play on like turn 3 or 4 or whatever.
I'm debating what to do, and I think the options are all pretty bad, which is kind of sad.
Yes, I would probably Cleric their Uro and Prelate on 1.
Yeah. I don't think this attack is even good, really.
Yeah, no, attack's not good. Into the Coatl especially.
It's kind of sad because I think the attacks are going to become a lot harder in the future as well, because they're just going to have so many 3/3s.
Yeah, they need to make 2/3/3s a turn. We're going through the motions because this is match so there's no real point in conceding unless we want to.
Well, this is the last match in the 1-2 bracket, so that's cool.
Point in conceding.
What happens if I take 4 and just make 2/3/3s? Then we're kind of dead.
If you block and they make 2/3/3s, we're also dead.
All right, not blocking. Hope to draw something that's not in our deck. Right?
Yeah. They misclick no blocks, and then we draw Lightning Bolt. Oh, they still have a food token. Dang, that doesn't even work. Maybe they'll Ulk the food token. And the reason why no Cataclysm? The reason to play Yorion is because it's like a Cataclysm that's just always in your opening hand, basically. More like a Gideon that's always in your opening hand, but essentially, in an 80-card deck, it's just going to be way harder to find your thing. And the issue with Cataclysm or Armageddon or Gideon or whatever, normal Death and Taxes, is that there were some games where you just didn't find it, and you would just like die not close.
So this is what I mean. This person had 3 Plague Engineers. I think this is becoming more common for Snow, and it makes it a lot harder, I think.
Yeah. I think Plague Engineer is on the lower end of cards that I don't want to see. I think Dead of Winter is actually a lot better for Death and Taxes a lot of the time. Plague Engineer is obviously still very good.
Completed the old 1/3. That was sad. I'm kind of on a life tilt after that. Because I feel like most of the decisions were made fine, and then I just slowly lost the game. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I've been playing Death Taxes for like 6 or 7 years at this point. So it's like, sometimes I'll just like 1-4 a league exactly like that. And I'll just be like, all right, well, I'll play again next time and maybe not die as horribly.
That's a ringing endorsement for the deck. That exact paragraph right there. Sometimes you don't die horribly, folks.
Yeah, sometimes you win a lot and you fucking win a challenge with your D&T or whatever.
I'm debating if I want to like tilt join one match in a league.
Try to make it look a little bit better.
I don't know if I should do that or not.
In my experience, rage queuing never ends up working well for me.
It's less about rage and more about I want to see if I can draw slightly better.
Yes. I mean, that's kind of rage in its own form, right?
I guess
annoyed by the variance of the day.
Sure. All right. No, Supreme Draft looks horrible to me.
Supreme Draft.
Well, Squeak Squitter is making me open a chest, so. Is this a D&T playable?
It's a white creature.
And look, angels and humans cost 1 less for each counter on Herald of War. You know what? This is one of the PTs where I did the most drafts for it, and I never remember opening this card. I literally don't remember.
Notoriously, like, just a horrendous limited format.
Yeah, there was one good deck. It was Blue-Green Soul Bond. If you weren't drafting it, your deck was usually not great. All of the good commons were green and blue. My valuable elo, which I don't really care about. I was just saying that to be sarcastic.
Yeah, I've lit my elo on fire testing for the showcase next week or 2 weeks next week.
It's funny because it's on Christmas like weekend, but I don't think that matters to most of the people who are qualified for it because they're like mostly hardcore people, right?
Yeah, I mean it's even more so because it's also COVID.
Oh
So
yeah, no one's going. Well, most people aren't going anywhere.
like last year it might have mattered a little bit more to me, but
Sure. Wasn't that a limited deck?
I
Like,
thought you had drawing mocks of it.
so I don't. Did you start playing Magic after Elo became irrelevant to qualify for events with for?
I barely even know what elo is, so
Okay,
yes.
so it actually used to be the case that if you were in like the top 50 in a region in rating, you would get invited to a Pro Tour when the cutoff occurred. So like rating actually used to matter IRL. And well, like WotC had a site to calculate it and show you every week. It would be updated. So people would just not play FNMs if they were on the cutoff or whatever, you know? It was actually kind of horrible because people wanted to play but they couldn't. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, it kind of discourages playing a little bit in just like a random, like casual event.
Yeah, Newton confirmed it was Zendikar
Yes,
draft, and obviously Luminarch Aspirant is like a great card to open because
that is a very good limited card. I will agree.
I have to explain what a Pro Tour is. Well, you know, the modern explanation or term for what a Pro Tour is probably set name split championship. And it used to be Mythic Championship. Then at some point they made it Players Tour. You know what? They've changed the name too many times in the last 3 years. I'm done. I'm just
Mythic
done.
Championship.
Oh yeah, actually, there's a famous story about the fake DCI number thing. Bob Mauer, famously Dark Confidant, was once banned because of ratings fraud. Like if you would
Wow.
just enter your friends and they would all scoop to you because you needed rating points, like people would get in trouble over that shit.
Yeah, it seems like something that's like fairly easy to game in like a very small casual setting.
Well, they were pretty hawk-eyed about it back then because they knew that that was a thing. And now we don't use that stuff anymore. Now no one gets to qualify for anything consistently,
Yeah, it's
unless if
impossible to
you're
qualify for
like,
anything unless you're already a pro.
well, I was about to say, unless if you're like 1 out of 96 people.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not willing to do that anymore. So I am a professional casual, is how I would put it.
I am slightly more casual than that.
Wow. So you're a semi-professional casual, is what you're saying.
Semi-professional sounds even maybe a little bit too much. When I like played like 2 years ago or something, I had dreams like one day maybe I'll like play in a PT, like maybe I'll spike a PTQ and get to play in one. But like I don't know, I was just playing Magic because it was fun.
What were the matchups? Round one, we lost to Red Prowess. Round two, we beat Turbo Depths, Rainbow Turbo Depths. Round three, we lost to Bant, Snow with Stoneforge. And round four, we lost to 5C Snow. So not great, but like, I would caution you from using just N equals 4 as a summary of what the deck can do. But there are certainly like no deck in Legacy is perfect, is what I would say. You know, they all have holes.
Yeah, and I do think the meta is shifting toward Death and Taxes. Like I think I think the spot that we caught lightning in a bottle with Yorion Taxes in November, we've definitely like already shifted away from that point. Even though the Legacy meta has felt like pretty stale, I think the meta is worse for the deck than it has been in the past.
Yeah, I mean the 3 Plague Engineer thing's a little bit
Yeah,
that. No, Delver is not the perfect start. Delver's like Jund in where you can pick like 5 or 6 decks to be really good against, but there's still holes. Like this deck is not perfect. I mean, obviously, like people win a lot with it because it has like a broken core, but it's not perfect. Yakisoba taxes is pure gas. What? What does that mean? Do you know what yakisoba taxes is, JR?
I don't. I've never heard that terminology. My guess would just be it's a play on noodle, right?
Oh,
Yakisoba is like
sure,
a
because
Japanese
yeah,
noodle
yeah.
dish. It's
Yakisoba
also
is
just
like
kind of like
the thin wheat noodles, right?
yeah. It also kind of it's a little catchier than just saying noodles because yakisoba is also just kind of like a whole mess of stuff mixed in, which is kind of what Yorion Texas is, just kind of a disaster pile of
You know
random
what?
stuff.
For that person, I'm gonna pull up a picture of what they're referring to. It's also called Chinese noodles.
Interesting.
It's so weird. I mean, this literally says Chinese noodles,
I
like
knew
Chinese
I knew
culture
ramen
noodles.
was actually like used Chinese noodles a lot, but I guess
Oh
they
yeah,
use it the same
that's a
style.
term because it like borrowed like the Sichuan style noodles, like called ramen in Chinese, which obviously is very easy to convert it to being pronounced ramen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like terms that like sound slightly different in the carryover.
I'm not playing a brainstorm deck basic swamps. We were just talking about Rug Delver
We
in
were
the
talking about it because someone was like, "If you ask Daniel, he says it's perfect." I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't think any deck's perfect." I
that's just the
believe,
meme though. Lackey was just memeing about.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to talk to Daniel about decks because he'll write a paragraph and then you read it and he's just reading you the card text. What about Callblade? Okay, Standard Callblade probably was a deck that had actual no bad matchups, which is why it actually did win like every standard tournament.
Yeah.
It was
It's
basically a
more
legacy deck because it had Preordain, it had Stoneforge Mystic, it had Jason Mind Sculptor.
yeah. It's more in like eternal formats where you get to like the no deck is like there's no flawless strategy because there's just such a wide depth of cards that you can eventually find some way to like attack. Whether or not it's like a good method is left up for debate. Kind of like what's going on Legacy right now. You can attack Delver and Snow, but how's that working out?
You ever click on random links in Wikipedia and you wonder what the hell is going on? Because I just did that and I'm wondering what the hell is going on.
A Jappa dog sounds wildly inappropriate.
Oh, this is apparently is a real thing in LA.
I mean, it sounds like some weird like Instagrammy food trend.
But it apparently started in Vancouver, Canada in 2005.
Jesus, all right.
Oh, and apparently now it wants me to sign up for the LA Times. No, I
Yeah, no.
refuse.
Bail, abort.
All right. One last one. Well, let's do a few minutes before I'll let you go. Okay. You're stuck on a lonely island. You can only have one type of food to eat for the rest of your life. What is it and why?
Um, so there's like the pedantic like good answer to these questions, which I always hate, is just like, oh, you choose some food that has like all the different food groups or
Right.
whatever, which is kind of like the boring answer. So the other side of the coin is it just kind of boils down to which is your favorite food, which I guess is
Right.
also less not very interesting. I've also just like micromanaged your question instead of just answering it, but
I noticed that, but I'm waiting. I'm not gonna be thrown off the scent.
um I was mostly just trying to buy time because I didn't really have a very good answer.
I know. You can't. You're just porting me for a little bit, trying to buy that time to get the perfect answer.
Yeah, draw a different card, work with some more information.
Right.
Did not work out well.
No.
God, I don't have a good answer right now. I'd probably go with some boring answer like, I basically never say no to like any sort of Mexican or Asian food. So like just burritos with uh just some like boring Chipotle ass burrito, like rice and chicken and stuff. I don't actually like Chipotle that much. I like Qdoba more.
Oh, that sort of disappointed me to hear you say that because I think Qdoba was worse, but that's
I think
okay.
I do. I don't like Qdoba as much anymore. When I was in college, there was a Qdoba in the basement of like the um one of the big hangout buildings where we'd always meet up to play Magic.
Okay.
And they had like this really good like lime chicken, which they don't have anymore, I guess. So I don't like Qdoba as much anymore.
Okay, I'll force you to narrow it down. You lived in Japan, right?
Yeah, yeah. I studied abroad in Japan for like 6 months or so.
All right. What was your favorite thing to eat there?
I did. I tried to briefly remember all the foods when you started asking that
I
question, but then
see.
I got overwhelmed and forgot. Oh no! All right. I figured it out. The fucking the pork buns that they had in all the convenience stores. I just would never get tired of eating those.
Let's see if we can pull them up.
Just like steamed pork buns. They just had this like yeah, exactly.
This looks identical to the Chinese
Yeah, it's probably the same
pork
thing in
buns.
Chinese and
So
Japanese.
you could get them at like Lawson.
Yeah, Lawson
Yeah,
was
I remember Lawson when I went to Kyoto and Nagoya for magic trips. I remember there were a shit ton of Lawsons.
yeah. There's a Lawson and a 7-Eleven right by the dorm that I stayed in.
My favorite thing about those places is animes have like stores that are spelled very close to it, but not quite the same spelling as these, because they're like afraid of like copyright infringement or something.
Yeah,
Like you know what I mean, right? Like it'll be like Walson or something like that, you know,
yeah. There's some really weird names and stuff over there.
or like Wick Donald's, you know, with the upside down.
Yeah, turn the M upside down. I'm trying to remember any examples, but it's been like 5 years since I've been there. There was also, other than the pork buns, there was a really, really good ramen place, um, Ichiran, which just, it was like the whole aesthetic of the restaurant itself and the ramen that they served was so good.
Fair
There
enough.
were just like these booths that you came in, sat it. It was like it's like introverts paradise for a restaurant. You just come and sat in this booth, and there was like this curtain down in front of you. You couldn't see the chef. You had this checklist that you filled out for what you wanted in your ramen, and you just like slid the little checklist underneath the curtain, and they would just like bring the ramen to you afterwards. No interaction. The walls are up on the sides, so you don't have to look at the people in the other booths.
So I've actually had a similar experience to that in China when I was a student at in Beijing in I think it was summer of 2005. So there's a really good Beijing duck style place in Beijing, obviously, because and they would bring the duck out to you alive before they killed it and cooked it, and they asked you to pick a duck.
That's so sad.
It's a little bit sad, but wow, that food's delicious. So they also asked you how you wanted it cooked and like what condiments or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure why they showed you the duck beforehand because like
That's
how many people can pick a good duck to cook, right?
yeah. There's some sort of line about humanity that you're crossing, I think, when it's like, okay, you can like pick a lobster or whatever, who gives a shit? I don't know. A duck, maybe I just like ducks.
I like
But
ducks, but they also can be kind of annoying. They honk really loudly, but they're mostly cute, right?
yeah.
All right, two more questions before I let you go. Favorite mixed drink?
Mixed drink. I'm not a big alcohol guy. I
Okay.
don't drink, but like my go-to if I'm like drinking in a social setting and I like don't want to be awkward about it, I usually just like drink a Moscow Mule.
Oh, nice. I also love Moscow mules. So now we can be drinking buddies if it ever comes up again, which will
Nice.
be approximately in like 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last question is favorite dessert?
Um, I'm a really big baker.
Yeah, I know. You showed me some pictures.
If you didn't know that about me, I'm trying to think about. I've baked some like really really nice things in my life, but my favorite. Huh. Made a really good like caramel apple cake once that I don't know if I'll ever nail the frosting again because I was really bad at making caramel without burning it.
That makes sense.
But
And
I got the frosting on the second try,
hmm.
but it was a really good cake. I need to make it again, but Aishinaz also hates cinnamon, so I just never get to make cinnamon based things. What is a Kentucky Mule? What do we?
It
Look
just has bourbon instead of vodka, apparently, which
ugh.
makes a lot of sense because that's what Kentucky stands for. It's also called horse feather, apparently. All of these make sense. I love ginger beer. I think ginger beer is really good. That's part of it. My personal favorite dessert, I think, is creme brulee. I could just eat it nonstop.
Umbrella is a good one. I don't think I've
And
ever made one.
the problem is you need the torch for the
Yeah.
sugar. Like, and I think a lot of people, it's really easy to mess that up, I think.
Mm.
So,
I've thought about buying a creme brulee torch before.
now is a good time to just spend all of your money on nonsense things because you're at home all the time, right?
I bought some nonsense things for making the chocolate chip cookies and the brownies that I made. Had to buy some nonsense things. I bought Malden sea salt flakes, which are actually amazing, and I think I should just put them on like most chocolate chip cookies at this
What
point.
are these Malden seas?
I think it's
Oh,
MODON. Yes, they have a flaky version of. Oh yeah, those are sea salt flakes. I have just this little baggie of it, and it really enhances the chocolate chip cookie. Honestly,
so this is like the website you bought it from or something like
oh
that?
no, I actually just found it in a grocery store.
Oh.
It wasn't that nonsensical, but I did have to order Dutch processed cocoa powder and
You're really becoming a hipster in your old age now.
what else did I have to order? Vanilla. It wasn't vanilla extract. It was like vanilla essence.
I've never heard of vanilla essence as opposed to extract. I know it. Oh, like
Yeah,
this? No.
that is vanilla. Yeah, it is. It's different. Yeah, vanilla essence I think is stronger.
It's it's like vanilla extract, except it contains little or no
It doesn't sound
vanillin.
like the thing that was.
Oh.
Maybe I can think of it. I think it was essence, but you make it with like actual vanilla beans, genuine vanilla. Yeah, this doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Vanilla essence sounds like fake vanilla extract from this article. Maybe it was some other vanilla based thing. I'd have to go look in my cupboard, but whatever. I've bought a lot of nonsense shit to make some like cool. I've bought lemon oil.
I did not know lemon oil is a thing, but I'm sure Wikipedia has heard of it.
Yeah, lemon oil. I bought to make these gooey lemon butter cookies. They were
Sounds
really
great.
good.
To be fair,
Should make-
most dessert sounds great. Like how, like,
Yeah, that's fair.
did you make lemon chess bars?
I've never actually made lemon chess bars.
How's that?
Yeah, I think they're just. I don't know if they're different than just lemon bars, but
What makes them chess?
I don't know. Maybe you have like some checkerboard pattern on them. Doesn't look like it.
No, apparently it's just called that.
I'm making a very fancy lemon dessert for Christmas in a week or so.
Oh, nice.
It's I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like just this really weird thing. I finally cracked and bought a God, what is that dessert called? The fluted sides on the edges of it. It's a tart pan. There we go. Finally bought a tart pan because I'm making this like lemon tart thing.
Oh, it looks like. Oh, Ubok doesn't like that link.
Yeah, it's just got fluted edges.
So it's like ridged edges like this.
Yes.
It's only $20.
I also had to buy baking beans.
I'm learning so many things that I don't know exist because I don't bake.
Yeah, it's for like pie crusts and tart crusts. You put them on. Yeah, you just weighs it down so it doesn't puff up.
Oh, so they're like paperweights actually.
Yeah, they're called baking beans because you used to use actual beans back in the day.
Oh, but now they're just like marbles or whatever.
Yeah, now they're just like marbles or some other nonsense. Pie weights.
Hmm. All right. So I think the plan is the next time you win a big event, then I'll try the deck again with you. But not
Okay.
not until that happens because I kind of feel like we ran into people who are prepared to crush us more than
Yeah,
normal.
you're not wrong.
And that happens. Like things do shift.
Yeah, and it's very easy that like if things broke slightly differently, the fourth round was like pretty winnable. Rounds 1 and 3 less. So
I don't. I would not sign up for that round one matchup very often.
yeah, definitely.
Uh, in any case, let's go see. You know what? I'll let you pick who we go raid if you want to take a look.
Who? Yeah, who's streaming?
I have no
Oh
idea who
god.
that is.
Right off the bat, I'm in bad blood with like 2 of the top 8.
Two?
Ben Stark and Aliandrasi.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't have to pick them. That's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, there's plenty of people to pick.
Is anyone playing Legacy? I usually try to throw Legacy players to more Legacy
The
players.
Legacy Pit's playing. Is there someone else?
Honorog. Wait, what the fuck is Honorog doing?
He's
Is
playing
it
some historic deck. I don't think people want to watch him do that.
yes. But Honorog
All
playing
right.
Arena sounds like an experience.
I mean, it's still Magic, but it's not. I mean, I tested a bunch of it for the qualifier, and it's not that fun. Is the issue? All right, I guess
Yeah.
we'll raid the Legacy Pit because they are
Yeah.
playing. Ooh, someone's playing Turbo Depths. Shoot, I did not mean to click on it, but I can type /raid. I think, right? Oh no, I have to type it in my
Your own
channel.
chat and type /raid or /host or whatever. I don't know the difference between hosting and raiding.
I don't think there actually is one, except it presents a different message.
Yeah, you get like a fun raid graphic.
But before I go, me and Stefan are going to stream tomorrow morning because I have the Friday off, because I have every other Friday off. And we're probably going to play Doomsday, which apparently JR can never beat. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll queue into 4 Death and Taxes players in that free one.
Stream snipe you.
Oh, bring it.
Put 4 even mind sensors in my deck and still lose.
All right. Anyways, thanks for everyone being here. See y'all.
Bye, chat.